There we go. Hello. Yo, what's up? What's up, people? We have a 2-faction tournament being hosted. My life with Nerzul. Not today. At least not today yet. No, I got busy stuff today. I got Valorant. I gotta play Valo tonight with some friends. What is this? Craziness. All right, but yeah, no, we're playing Vampire Accounts, Vampire Coast. Vampire Accounts, Vampire Coast. Great set of factions in the 2-faction tournament. Counts can stuff them up with infantry. Coast can stuff them up with infantry. Wow, I guess that's it. That's it. But I haven't played either faction recently. So we might as well. Try them out, see how they go. But yeah, we're early today. Tournament started already. I'll be hosting on Monday though. That'll be pretty hype. Get some Monday action. At least I think no one else is hosting on Monday. So many people are hosting nowadays. Downside is that you get a lot of conflicts. It's like I can't host as much as I want to at the times I want to. Upside, I don't gotta manage tournaments. So pros and cons. Queen Bess one. And I wish I could run Queen Bess. I might just stick with the meta today though. It's in the title. We got a Mantide. The Tide of Man, you know, zombie deckhand spam. Polearm spam. Pistols spam. And then probably some bomber mobs. Screw the bats. Screw everything, man. And then animated Hulks and Moringles. I suspect we'll be able to beat many a faction. Vampire Coast is mostly weak because of counter picking. So in this case, it ain't too bad. Beastmen and Slanesh are banned though, which I feel like Slanesh would be good against counts. But otherwise, I feel like, you know, Coast would actually be pretty good versus both of them. You know, they limited Kislev Frost Dragons? I can't believe it. How dare they? Let's see. 4-round Swiss style double faction tournament. Okay. Oh, we're up against Grombrindle, the host of the tournament. Oh boy, let's get him. I bet he's gonna play dwarves. I got vampire counts. Yo, counts versus dwarves in this meta? What is this even? Hey, we got zone playing today? Oh, hell yeah. Looks like Grombrindle is playing. Well, Call Harmon's playing, dude. Or at least he messaged an SFT declaration. Dowie and Chaos Dowie. Oh wait, in his thing. Even Dowie, odd Chaos Dowie. Oh, okay, he's playing Chaos Dowie versus Vampire Counts. Okay, that's not too bad. That ain't too bad. Alright, where are they at? Vampire Counts. Are the picks and bans? It's Atsushi Castle. No map selection. Dang. Alright. Yeah, I do have plans of letting ChatGPT choose my builds. That'll be pretty exciting. Quite exciting indeed. Counts, eh? Vampire counts? What are we looking at here? Chaos that we don't really have anything that you can scab scrap. At least typically not. You have a lot of magic damage. I think the play is simple though, right? I think there really is just the one way to play this matchup. And that is to murder his face. You know, just win the game. It's pretty chill. What is the cost difference of these two guys? I see 4,100. This one has 4,600. Sure. Sure, all right. Can you put together a diving army similar to Kislev one for Vampire Counts and Coast? Not really. You need single entities that have really good infantry impact damage to make that work. Because we are without that, there's no real way to make it work, sadly. You asked ChatGPT about your favorite Japanese band, and it gave you us. Gave you a bunch of Italian albums. Hi, yo, ChatGPT seems dumber every day. It's like a friend that you get to know, and then turns out they're not as smart as you thought. Can undead even sweat? True. True. The sweatiest factions are not even able to sweat. Insanity. Let's see. But yeah, these builds make themselves, man. These builds absolutely make themselves. Undead is so easy to play. I do have to worry about Kadai Fireborn. Kadai Fireborn are probably the spookiest thing I have to worry about, but that's about it, right? Let's see. Okay, nice. Corpse carts don't count as single entities. Thank God. If they did, I would have no single entities. I think we would just be a dead man. ChatGPT is a fairly knowledgeable friend that just makes things up if they don't know what they're talking about. Invocation of Sweat, absolutely. How did you know? Actually, do I want these abilities? Chaos Dwarves are quite shooty. They're quite shooty, so I gotta have to be a little wary. You know, this is probably worth taking. But yeah, they got a lot of ranged attacks that I'm not the biggest fan of. They have Kadai. I don't have any great single entities to fight them. I guess this one's okay. Just one of these. Just slap them down. I guess. You know what? Yeah, this actually works out pretty fine. Sure. Sure, why not? Ooh, okay, yeah, this works fairly good. Now, how Mantide do we want to go against Chaos Dwarves? I guess they do have trains, right? I have to worry about the choo-choo action. Why not go Vampire Counts and get the... You mean Vampire Coast? And get the damn Knights Errant summon for diving his range? Because we're playing Vampire Counts. It's a two-faction tournament. I'm starting off with Counts. Let's see. Do I want this? Probably. A Fellbat's useful here? Probably. Or, let's see. I don't know. Chaos Dwarves are weird. I think they just don't really have a lot of clearing power. And that's just gonna make them super far behind, right? Am I crazy? Am I crazy to believe such things? Let's see. I just need like a finisher unit. Yeah, something like this. All right. This should be fairly straightforward. Thankfully for me, vampire accounts are pretty straightforward to play, or at least to make armies with. To play, you do have to manage yourself a little bit different. I think it's very easy to misplay vampire accounts. Like if you go, so one thing I've noticed is that the wider you go, the worse you get. So you can go wide and capture the points, but if they go super wide themselves, what ends up happening is their infantry just cleave through your skeletons because they kind of suck. Noob question, but how do you balance out bringing chaff versus elite infantry to a matchup? Elite infantry need to not have too many weaknesses. So you see Wrathmongers, very common. Wrathmongers are seen a lot as an elite infantry pick. Okay, he only has 8 units out of 19. I can totally just go hella wide here and just full cap him. This is the decision making you gotta make. Oh yeah, this is the decision making as a vampire accounts player. Do you go for all the capture points or do you hunker down? It really depends on how badly you think the trading will go. If you think trading's gonna go badly, like he has, you know, like no units, then you should go wide and just triple cap him. Otherwise, you should totally go for a more safe play style and get heals. But yeah, you know, right now, if you want elite infantry, you have to make sure that they don't die to spells and cycle charging and single entities and the like. Right now they have way too many counters. Really, it's a gun build. I would have thought that he'd have anything else. I thought he would have gone for Train Max. Instead he went for Iron Sworn, Blazing Beards, Shadowy Warriors. Okay. Interesting. He brought Flame Breath, Burning Head. Makes sense, so don't line them up. Okay, well, what's he playing in that? Is he gonna go for Kadai? What's the dealio? He's gonna fireball Kemmler to death? I'm definitely gonna cap to this point. I just don't know what I want to summon. It's like Infernal Guard are kind of spooky, right? Probably just more infantry and just flank them. I think that's a simple enough way to get the victory down. Terror Goose breath attacks are gonna be nasty. It also heals rather well. He whiffs the breath attack, but the Terror Geist whiffs its melee attack, so kind of unfortunate. All right, so am I just YOLOing into him then? I guess I'm just YOLOing into him because I have Wind of Death. So the moment he stands to shoot, I think we're just gonna kill him. I just gotta get the zombies in front. Darn zombies, so slow. There you go. Infernal Iron Sworn, yeah, so he wants to use blasting charges against me. But I have a lot of dudes. The Goose can get into position, get his dudes down. Don't want to get the corpse cart shot up, so we're just gonna pull that one back. Kadai are just focusing that business. Can I get a Wind of Death? Cancel. Absolutely cancel. There you go. That was a very last minute cancel. Kind of needed though, because if I goofed it up, we'd be in a very bad position. I would have wasted all my Winds of Magic. Devils of Short Saving, they're amazing. Unfortunately, kind of losing my first corpse card. They're cheap, but you don't want to just lose them for nothing, right? There's the Winds of Death, by the way. Very good ability. Very exceptional ability. Come on, you darn corpse card, live. We're gonna try and patch it up. Most of his range units are incredibly shut down though, so that's a huge loss of value on his end. Crypt Ghouls are just good for that. And dang, is Lord miscast. He got the Burning Head though, but yeah, there's no more range units, so now I can just start cycle charging with the Devils of Short Saving and I should be fine. What else do I want? Dire Pact? I don't know. I don't know what unit I really want here. Dang, this thing's kind of dying though. At least the goose regenerates, so it shouldn't be too bad. There you go. Blazing Beard should go down soon. And man, I kind of wish I had more Vargeists. Maximilianaire would be disappointed in me. I'm also not blobbing up too hard, but like, I don't know. He just went to range composition. He went to range composition against the counts. Is that not just insta death? Blazing, oh no, Infernal Ironsworn, it's gonna eat a Wind of Death. Basically undodgeable. Which means that they are out of here. They didn't take that much damage actually. How's the goose doing? Getting hunted. You know, even though I am shutting down his range fairly well, I will say he is getting some choice picks. We do have a double cap though, and a decent value lead considering the heals. So I think we're still probably good, though I definitely could have been doing a bit better. Definitely could have been doing a little bit better. No black coach either. Feels a little bit sus. But hey, you know, the middle's getting chunked down. Gonna get a breath attack here. Gonna get a heal on the goose. Come on, patch it up. There you go. Dodge it. He's really focusing it down. There's the heal. Minus 32 leadership, but the healing's sick. Oh my gosh, the goose lives. Unless he gets one more volley, then it's dead. Yeah, let's go. The goose lives. Its regeneration will hard carry. All right, nice. All right, we take that. And now I just have to close out by using the age-old strategy of stuff them up for a million years. Should be fairly simple. Oh god, that's a blasting charge volley though. Kind of spooky. There's another one of those. There's a demon's tongue. All right. So he does get the demon's tongue out. Do lose my Vargeists. Dang, yo, he's actually doing fairly well for himself. No capture on the point. Lots of damage taken. You know, honestly, a little bit sus, right? His lord is he's in fairly good health too. But what if I just start re-spamming zombies? The map's a little bit big, right? But I don't think he's capturing any of these points anytime soon. So he has some hobgoblins here. I can desummon my necromancers finally. There's the spooky force. Diving on in. Oh, breath attack on the goose. Okay. So he's really killing my goose over there. All right, let's see how we do versus hobgoblins. If I can win that, it's fine, but I must say I am kind of running out of units here. And the ticket-wise, it ain't too pretty, right? His lords. Jeez Louise, man. Leave me alone. Okay, he's kind of being up gambler. I do have some fell bats here. The doggos are doing fine. The goose is alive somehow, some way, but yeah, is he just gonna wipe me? Kind of sus, kind of sus. I do get that capture point though, so triple cap is definitely unfortunate for the man. Gambler's just gonna book it and distract his oh so expensive lord. Fireball to the face. Pretty painful. Fireball to the face. He's getting shot. All right, all right. Oh crap, wrong unit. I want to summon crypt ghouls. Well, it's fine. At least the train can't capture very quickly. Triple cap, we should be able to hold for a very long time. You know, I got my corpse card in there. Kamler is just, you know, running for his life as expected. Come on, doggos. Yeah, there we go. Okay. There goes Kamler. So will he be able to re-secure points in time? I guess that's a big question. He doesn't have the most capture weight in the world, right? You know, we're gonna have these skeletons over here. We have the crypt horrors grinding against the Kadai. It's like this one's more or less locked down. That's not a big deal. It's the middle and this far point that had me a little worried. Did I lose my bats to hobgoblins? I think I just lost my bats to hobgoblins. Oh god. Yeah. kind of sus trading wise. Unless I kill off those hobgoblins, it's gonna be rough. I only have the 1 point. Oh god, alright. How's the trading? So his demon's tongue takes that point. Oh god. Dang, yo, he's actually winning this one. I should have totally taken to black coaches, man. Black coaches would have annihilated. Now he's gonna probably triple cap me soon if I'm not careful here. The Camler snipe, yo, that lord got so much value on me. All right, how do I resecure points? Crypt ghouls are a good option. Crypt ghouls are a solid one. This one is hunkered down fairly well. All right, we got the double corpse card. Ticket wise, he's very far behind on tickets. Camler can probably come back too. All right. And I could probably just get some sneaky snipes. Camler costs a lot though. He's an expensive boy. Okay. Blazing beards are over here. I don't know how I feel about this one. I don't have a lot of capture weight on this point. I should be able to resecure the left one though. I think that's fine. Camler feels like a misplay. I feel like I should just spam infantry and just say screw it. We are trying to hunker down and just take points. But I feel like he's going to start retaking points very quickly now. Oh, the blasting charges. No. Where is Krell? Where is Krell? Dang it. Oh my gosh. The crumbling begins. The mass crumbling. It hurts. The heals are not enough. Dude, that lord, man. So he basically value traded and then bought some single entities in the late game here. Any way we can save this? Well, I got more undead coming on in, but like they're not doing anything if they don't capture the point. I guess I can try and hunker down on the last point, but I gotta hold that for like ages and ages, right? I guess I might as well though. I guess we might as well just hunker down and do our best. Oh man, I kind of thought we were just gonna kill him with Winds of Death. I guess I shouldn't have played so aggressively with the trading. He done out traded me. All right, well, I got the capture point at least. There you go. So that's capture point number 1. It's not gonna recapture it anytime soon. Demon's Tongue can only kill so quickly, right? And now I just gotta start pooling in money. I have to just start pooling in money to retake this far point. I don't even know if we win on a single cap. That's the worst part. I don't even know if we win on a single cap. It's really close. 500 tickets, 400. So what? He's gonna get 800 points. It's kind of hard to tell. 400, he gets 800. He's at yeah, I don't know. I think we might actually need a double cap. My math is failing me right now. Oh, he hasn't gone for this one. Okay, you know what? Maybe we can. Maybe we can get a steal here. So this is where we get the Crypt Ghouls. We go for this one. We just gotta stuff them up. Just gotta never let them take some points. These zombies, good stalling. Very good at stalling, right? His train can only do so much damage. So I got a double Crypt Ghoul summon here. Sneaky beaky like. They should be able to just steal that middle point while he's not looking. And if I can hold that for any reasonable amount of time, I think we're A-okay, reasonably A-okay. He does spot him, but a little bit too little too late, right? Oh, he does have some hobgoblins on the point. That's fine though. Hobgoblins are fairly killable. So far, the stuffing them up strategy is working fine on there. So then we're gonna get some zombies to just hold down that point, make sure it never gets taken. Then we're just gonna phase through the hobgoblins. There you go. Double Crypt Ghoul here and a unit of Dire Pack should be able to take this point almost instantly. The question is, can I actually hold any of these, right? I don't know if we're actually holding anything. There you go. Crypt Ghouls have done well. At least when it comes to holding. There you go. Just make sure he doesn't get on the point. Nice. Quick duels are going fine. And then I just gotta start pressuring this flank over here. At least I have a lot of time to secure points. Skeletons for days piling on in. There you go. We did rout off the hobgoblins. That's good. So I can mostly just ignore these chaos warriors. The thing is, he's about to retake this one though. 300 tickets. Oh god, it's so close. He's totally gonna retake this one. There's no way I stop him from in this situation, right? Come on, just take it. Just capture the point. Come on, baby. Come on, there you go. Okay, so there's a point capture. Do you have another crypt ghoul here? God dang, I don't think we're doing it. I don't think we're doing it. God dang. Not unless, nah, this zombie tide is not going to do anything, unfortunately. Though we do technically win on 1 point. So if I can just stall him here for another millennia, it's probably fine. You can see him pulling forces over here. Do I have any skeletons or anything? Yeah, so he's going to try and hunker down on this one. He has a lot of forces there, so I don't think I'm retaking it anytime soon. These guys are going to have to relocate to the middle, I think. I do have a crypt ghoul summon here that can maybe get some retakes going on. I think he holds this, though. I think he holds this. Maybe I should have gone for the middle. He would have piled into the middle, though. Dang. Yeah, I don't think there's a way we win this. Ah. Yo, I took so much damage on my goose. Shouldn't have taken the goose if it was just going to die like that. Shouldn't have taken the goose. Now we're triple capped. Brutality. Brutality. Oh. This is going to be a 3-0, isn't it? This is totally going to be a 3-1 type of scenario. Yeah, anyway, we resecure this now. I think we're donezo. Dang. The chow, we win it. Alright, GG. Well played. GG, well played. What I feel like I really needed was just one black coach. And just avoid his lord. I think that would have been fine. The crumbling. Yo, he annihilated Kemler too. Alright, so clearly I gotta keep working on my vampire counts. If I can't beat chaos orbs with counts, what am I even doing? Got way too much damage taken on my corpse carts at the beginning. And I went for the triple cap when he was going for value plays. I thought it would have been fine though, because like he only had a couple of range units who kind of just jump him and shut him down. Dang, Iron Sworn, eh. It was mostly his lord, yeah, 5,000 value. It was mostly his lord and then the cleanup crew of Kadai and the trains. Everything else really didn't do that good. But yeah, losing Kamlar was the big oof. The big oof. Alright, yeah, get out of there. Get out of here. Get out. What we got? The next one I'm playing is Counts. I mean, as Coast. I definitely could have played way safer with the goose. Like, I think in the end it came down to play style. The build was probably fine. We won, that's your comfort zone. Seems like a rough matchup for Counts. Kind of. I think I totally could have traded better though, just by getting my breath attacks in. Alright, anyways. Vampire Coast play style is very, very similar. But yeah, I just took like a lot of early game damage. Excuse me, that was totally unnecessary. You can tell based on how we were doing. If I just didn't fight for that third point, I probably would have been able to amass a large enough force to just steal capture points from him. Check the total tavern stats for the matchup. Stats. Vampire Coast. No, Vampire Counts. Dang, Maximilianaire got them up to 62% win rate. against Chaos Dwarves, 67% win rate on the count of on counts, 8-4. I think totally it just comes down to playstyle. If Maximilianaire can do it, I should be able to emulate. All goodies though. Here's the standard coast lineup. So go for like a super cheap Silastra. You take the Ghosts of the Past. Dang, she's kind of expensive. 1,050 already. Did they increase the price? They might have. You're ruining Max's hard work. Well, you know, worst case scenario, you only lose 2 games. I wonder if Grombrindle's gonna get enough wins here. I feel like, I don't know. We'll see. Who signed up for this tournament? What do we got? We have, oh god, we have Charix, Tim the Wilder, B6. I'm gonna have to scrap super hard to come back in this one. But you never know, it always happens. It's like 50% chance we can come back. You ever spam Kiss of the Deep? Not really worth it. It does like, what, 40 damage? It does like 40 damage a cast? Is that really worth it? I guess it's like the Tomb King's passive, but like 40% of it. And the magic you're using isn't nearly as good, right? Tomb King's passive works because the magic is fairly impactful. And most I'm spamming, what, Spiteful Shot? Is CA making buffs OP? I don't know, man. I've been petitioning for ages. Any matchups you would take Luther Harkin for? I don't know. Probably decent amount. He's just not very meta nowadays. Silastra's just so much more popular. No, Kraken's pull is like a high impact spell. Let's do that. Let's take Silastra, Kraken's pull. Spam our zombies. Get her on a Rotting Leviathan maybe, and then spam these dudes. Rotting Leviathan's expensive too, man. 1,400. Yeah, no, I'm not taking Spiteful Shot. I was just looking at the thingies. What do you think is the worst school of magic and why? Light? No, absolutely not light. Lore of Light has Net of Ammontok, which is meta. People actually run it. The worst lore of magic, the one that nobody in their right mind ever touches, the one that if it was on every faction, they wouldn't use it even if they were the dwarves. Probably the Skaven. Probably the lore of Skaven. Though technically Itza sees less play than the lore of Skaven, but that's just because Croak is expensive. Rune magic, if he counted as a lore, is even worse. Except Rune of Slowness. I just kind of use the Rune of Slowness. But yeah, I think the lore of Skaven is down there. Even worse than the lore of the Hag. At least the lore of the Hag kind of does well with cavalry. We need to hydrate, thank you. I got my milk. But yeah, this one's a Vampire Coast special, man. This one is a Vampire Coast classic. Just take an infinity amount of infantry. Take all the Moringulls and Hulks you could ever want. A couple Sirens, a couple more Bombers, a couple more Pirate Guns. And then the build is done. The build is done. You don't need anything else after this one. That's yeah, that's really it, isn't it? I guess that's basically it. Can I fit one more gun though? I can fit 2 more guns. Should I fit 2 more guns? Of course. All right. Yeah, this is a solid Vampire. Solid Vampire Coast starter pack. I wish Squolk was a beast. Yo, he used to be. Fell off so hard. It's nice to have the change of pace for a bit, but 'twas just a bit. cannon is very cheap. Yeah. It can get shut down though. It doesn't really suit the playstyle of just, you know, hunkering down on the points. I see a lack of bloated corpses. They do cost 400 now. They got that sick buff, right? Net carrying Lore of Light on its back. What are the other Lore of Light spells even? You know, Shems is actually not the worst as just a standard targeting spell. Banishment is pretty terrible, too expensive. Light of Battle only lasts 22 seconds. 22 seconds is not a lot of time to be unbreakable. And usually you're not casting it right when the unit's about to rout, because it starts getting a bit risky. Fall's Protection is a 22-second buff spell. Also not really that impactful. And the passive is also pretty bad, right? Just a minor leadership buff. The thing about leadership buffs is that the moment your leadership drops, you're out. It's kind of rough. At launch, they were at like 700. There's no way bloated corpses were 700 gold at launch. There's no way. I thought they were always 425. At least that's what I remembered for the longest time. They used to do more damage, by the way. Because CA changed spells, they actually got nerfed even more. Bloated corpses do less damage. How much would you need to sacrifice to run Bessie? Too much. I'm not sacrificing a good chunk of my front line for Bessie. Okay, if Light of Battle instantly rallied, that would be really cool. That would be so cool if Light of Battle instantly rallied. Oh my god. That would be so sick. So yeah, you just use it to get a unit back right away. Man, that would be so sick. I should add that as a suggestion. Very unique. There you go. Yeah, that'd be so sick. If they ever implement it, you can take credit. Man, that Chaos Dwarf game's gonna live rent-free in my head, isn't it? That Chaos Dwarf game, oh god. I gotta play more Vampire accounts for sure. I think they are one of the best factions in the game, but they're one of the hardest to play properly. Maximillionaire is really the only guy right now that like is consistently getting dubs with the Vampire accounts. Meanwhile, everyone else, you know, even Outer Region, when he plays Vampire accounts, they just kind of die, man. They just kind of run out of units. I think a lot of it comes down to keeping that corpse card alive. Vampire Coast Artillery worth anything? For the record, people, Vampire Coast is VP. Otherwise, you confuse it with Vampire Accounts. Everyone does VC for the acronym for Coast, but it gets real confusing. You have to do VP for Vampire Pirates. Or Vampirates. Vampirates, though, Artillery. The mortars are not worth in Domination. Queen Bess is a hard maybe if you can guarantee it's not going to die. And the carronades are okay. They're fine. Nothing too crazy about them. And yet you hear every kid on here yelling that they need help. The counts. The counts? Well, like, they yell that they need help because they're a really hard faction to play, right? You know, it could just be a situation where Maximillionaire just knows how to play them as a main. Kind of like how I can elevate Empire way above the current faction win percentage. But I think a lot of other people tend to lose with Empire. I think it's not. I think Empire might actually not be that strong. It might just be a me thing. I saw people play Empire recently to no avail. But yeah, I need to learn the Vampire Counts playstyle. I probably still need to learn the Skaven playstyle. Weirdly enough, I know how to do well with Tomb Kings, but not Counts. Who do you not want to face as pirates? Any of the Elf factions or Empire. Most of the good guys have way too much shooting. Looks like we have an opponent. Hey, all right. For Poland. I'm VP. What's he playing as? What's this guy doing? What's the map? The map is Road to Talipine. He's Norska. Beautiful. So this is as good as it gets. Wait, I thought I saved my thingamajig. Why do I have sirens in here? Oh, I guess no, that makes sense. Just in case. All right, Norska time. Road to Talipine. This one's a chill one. This one's a chill. Do I even pretend to, do I even need to hide my army at this point? Like, it's pretty straightforward, right? The thing about this army, it should be impossible for Norska to win because you just have too much shooting. You know what? Screw it, man. Let him stream sniper. Whatever. Whatever. I lost the first game anyways. You renewed my struggle to win an SFT with Nurgle. Good luck, brother. Good luck. I guess we did finally learn how to play Nurgle. That's nice. But yeah, I need to play counts until I can win an SFT with them. If I want to be like a top dog in multiplayer, I really have to learn as many factions as possible. Based on what we saw on Turin's tournament, a lot of people kind of got screwed over by the one global ban. And Turin kind of likes global bans too. So it really encourages you to not main one faction. Aren't you already a top dog? Yeah, but I want to secure my position, man. I want to be like the top dog of every faction. I want to be like Falcon levels of like God, people. I want to have like a 100% win rate. Like if I'm gonna do this as my job, I might as well be good at it. I want to be a legend. As it stands though, I still flub very often. Redeem a stretch, thank you. Oh, I didn't get my exercise Twitch things today. I'll set it up for Monday. I'm feeling lazy. I'm a lazy man. Vampire Coast has guns, therefore Vampire Counts can't hold the acronym. It should be VG, Vampire Guns. Red Duke is fine, yeah. Red Duke's the super fighty guy, right? Or no, Red Duke is no, Blood Dragon's fighty guy. Red Duke's the one with Tempest. Tornado Tempest ability is just good, man. Go for it. You take him purely as an anti-air specialist. Really good for dominating the skies. Like that game against Chaos Dwarves I probably could have done with the Red Duke. Everybody worth their salt knows and fears a Kraken King. I will say, the fact that people banned Kislev all the time means that they totally knew about my crazy Kislev build. And we did have at least one person specifically try and make a counter build as Empire with it. So, you know, but I want more. I want more. It's the human condition to never be satisfied with the status quo, okay? So what if I won the grand finals? I want to win every tournament that I sign up for as whatever faction. Except for Skaven. I will never want to get good at Skaven. I refuse. Aside from that, though, I want to be a god of Warhammer. Okay, I just want to be. I want to be the bestest Warhammer player ever. Okay, she did better stretching. Stretch them legs. Whew. Here we go. All right, so here's the thing about Norse. They kind of suck in general. They're kind of garbage. How's your Slanesh? That's hilarious. My Slanesh is so terrifying. Slanesh is like the ultimate in Inticity playstyle, okay? Slanesh is what I was born to play. And for that reason, I won every game that Slanesh was a part of in the tournament. Dude, I'm so ready for the DLC. It's gonna be insane, man. It's gonna be so good for them. Holy moly, how's my Slanesh? Man, if they weren't banned, oh my gosh. I love them so much, man. Skirmish cavalry and some quick mobility with some obliteration spells is so fun. Yeah, mass cav is totally my jam. I'm really good at like alternating between points with my mobility. I'm really bad at the factions that kind of just have to lock down on one point and just kind of, you know, grind out in like this tiny space. I don't really know what I'm doing when I find myself in those situations. He has Ice Wolf chariots. Okay, so this army's like a little too wide. I can already feel it. I was a little bit lazy with the deployments. So I'm just gonna make it a little bit less wide real quick. There you go. That should do. I don't want him to just out-trade me. I think they totally out-trade me if I go too wide. I have to be a little careful. More pistol mobs for the win. There's no way his chariots stop the infinite pistol mobs, right? I got Kraken's pull. But yeah, it's the mobility games give me an instinct to push forwards really aggressively. That's definitely a misplay. I should totally be playing this kind of like a pseudo land battle and just playing super duper careful with these guys. Because we saw what happened when I down traded, right? All I gotta do is trade about even and not run out of units. If I can do that, then we'll be goodies. There's the Burning Head. Who would have guessed? Everyone takes Burning Head versus Coast and counts. And I can't dodge it either. My units are so slow. Alright, get on them points, people. So we just gotta slow scoot it, right? I just gotta scooter it just a little bit. Here come the chariots. I have pistol mobs though, so I think it's fine. They'd embrace. God dang it. There's a boat. Okay. He hit me with the boat. Okay, screw this business. Alright, so I got one capture point. Crap, I friendly fired my own guys with the bombers. God, it's been a while since I did this one. It's been a while since I did this one properly. Okay. I feel so out of practice. CA nerfed my coast and I just didn't play them ever again. Now I am suffering the consequences. I got a terrible AoE spell there though. And yeah, now Norsk he's piling on in. The thing is, he really is just relying on his chariots to do well. I think that's mostly okay, because they'll eventually get bogged down, right? There we got our cavalry summon. A couple spears here, totally fine. I have another gun unit. As long as I just pile in with the guns in the back line, I think we're okay. Pretty brutal burning head. Not much we can do about it. There's the cav summon. So we'll just charge these guys in the rear, then deal with the jabs later. Javelins are not particularly spooky. There you go. There's the Hulk's collapse of his front line. Honestly, this arm is just too powerful for him, right? In the end, I don't even need to play this properly. I think he's just dead on account of it being Norsca to Ghost. Like, I'll take it, but this is definitely one of the worst showcases of Coast ever. I feel like I played this one garbage, man. I feel like I played this one like absolute garbage. I did not feel proud about this game at all. Worse, I played this one worse than the Vampire Counts game. For sure, for sure. Now my opponent's good though, alright? I'm not saying my opponent's bad. I'm saying that Norse gun to Coast 20 stack is brutal. What the crap? It's kind of how Coast works, though, right? It's the duality of Coast. You are probably going to be able to crush some factions, but you're gonna get annihilated versus other ones. Can I brace against that? God, those zombies do not brace well, do they? They don't brace well in the slightest. All right, GG. Yeah, that was just I don't know what happened. I didn't do anything properly. Like, I don't know what happened. I just kind of sat there and it was a free win. Definitely more fun than that Vampire Counts game. He was playing Norsca. Coast won it. Yo, those Marauders, man. Those Marauders are so bad into Coast. You know how quickly they route to Moringles? Marauders suck against Coast. I'm like begging them to bring Marauders. But then you can't bring Champs because they'll just die to everything. And then your army would be too small. GG. His Horseman got negative value. I think his Horseman got way too shut down that fight. And his Chariots actually didn't do anything. God dang. Wolfric, yeah, okay. Yeah, no, it was just a gross. It was just a gross. Anyways, that was his lobby, so we gotta get back to ours. Okay, back to Vampire Counts. I gotta learn this. I gotta learn this faction. Do I have preset builds? Yeah, if I don't win today, I'm totally gonna have to play Counts in thing. I need to bring Fim here. The bullet sponges. Sponges can only hold so much water. Zombies weren't made for bracing. Not even the halberds. Cries an ogre. I would like to play more ogre, but yeah, I don't know. So like, here's the thing, right? There's no point really playing Kislev if people are gonna ban them. I'll just learn everything. Who has the better boat? Yo, my boat's so slow, man. Vampire Coast boats. I love how it is actually boat size, though. Unlike Wolfric's boat, which is like the tiniest thing ever. It's like a canoe. Although maybe it is for the right size for the Norskins. The fact that there's certain matchups that decide the matches kind of ruins the game IMO. So that's the big problem with single faction tournaments that I've been trying to work around recently. We've been hosting a lot of 5 faction tournaments as of late, where I let players pick 5 factions, and there's a cool pick and ban system that lets you avoid some of the filthiest matchups in the game. Unfortunately, I wasn't hosting today. That's why we're here early. That's why we're here early. Are you technology shaming Norsca? Rude. What are they gonna do? Sail to me? Actually, I guess that's kind of the thing, right? How are they sailing across oceans? Wolfric boat is definitely a Warhammer 1 scale jank. Yo, if they were to redo these factions today, holy crap, man. First of all, transformation of Kadan would actually transform you. Yeah, if they start, let's say Warhammer started in Cathay, and then it ended in the Empire. What would it look like? Boats are just upside down Norskin houses. Jeez. But yeah. Yo, that would be some sick stuff. Dude, war wagons? If war wagons were made today, okay, they'd probably be the same. Let's see here. I feel like a lot of the Warhammer 2 factions would benefit the most. God, the high elf passive would be better, that's for sure. High elf passive would be way better. I've been petitioning CA to get the high elf passive buffed. Also, people have been asking me to post the list of things that I want CA to change. I think it's really good to show that to people to help remove my biases. But I want to get it in a way where people aren't just arguing over my suggestions all the time. Because there's a few suggestions that it's just like, you know, here's something cool that I want to see. That I might push harder for. There's like some weird stuff too with like buff spells. Like, if people are willing to argue with me on buff spells, I'll argue on each and every single point. I don't want to just sit around arguing with that. So I might make like a separate Discord channel where like if you want to get a change in, you have to provide some data. You have to provide, number one, a multiplayer game showing that XYZ is actually good and doesn't need a buff, or why it's bad and it doesn't need a nerf. And then you also have to show mathematical data. You know, like, you know, it has to be good in a vacuum and practice, or bad in a vacuum and practice. Otherwise, people are going to start arguing that, you know, Flaming Sword is good, okay? Although I will say, we have seen a resurgence of some buff spells. Like, people are using Flesh to Stone against Cav specifically to win Cav fights and still have Earthblood, which is kind of cool. Still pretty expensive. Like, I think it could be better. And I don't think you're gonna break the game by buffing Flesh to Stone, but it has actually seen more use than I expected. More than people are using Dwellers nowadays. Got any notes on Skull Reapers and Blood Speakers? I think mostly I was asking for core and cavalry buffs. But yeah, those guys need some help too. Alright. Are we in round 3 yet? Not yet. That was a very fast game, it turns out. Flesh to Stone is always good. Yeah, see, Archa, you would be surprised how many people would vehemently disagree with your analysis. You would be surprised. Did you know that people said, here's the crazy thing. Remember when Burning Head used to do twice as much damage? Even then, when Burning Head was twice as good as before, there were people, like Burning Head could delete elite infantry back in the day, guys. It would delete a unit of Sword Masters of Horath. Like literally you cast it on them, the Sword Masters is probably losing 2/3 of their HP or more and routing. Back in the day, people used to say that Flaming Sword was as good as Burning Head. Pit of Shades would delete infantry. Pendulum for sure. Pendulum would just clear out swaths of infantry. Elite infantry too, because it has armor piercing. And people would be like, but bro, enfeebling foe. Think about enfeebling foe. Yo, it was whack, man. It was whack. Now, it's a little bit more comparable now that these spells are like 1/3 the strength that they used to be. Dude, Pendulum was insane, man. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Pendulum was crazy. And people were like, oh my gosh, you know. The Ash Storm, or was there an overlap between Strong Pendulum and Ash Storm? There was definitely people talking about Flaming Sword for ages. You know, people spamming Cascading Fire Cloak and stuff. People trying to get, you know, Fire Amp buffs and all that. It used to delete Chosen on a single cast. I know, right? Man, at least it was pretty more clear cut. The buff spell community was way smaller. But there's been a resurgence that I got kicked down. Your cat tried to send you a very long chat message, but fortunately I did not step on the enter key. But fortunately did not step on the enter key. You should have. You should have sent it. It would have been hilarious. Make buff spells 0 winds of magic, but have a longer cooldown. The thing about cheaper spells is that the lore passive starts to get OP. So I think Spiteful Shot should cost 2 winds of magic for how good it is. But if you made it that, Kiss of the Deep would be kind of crazy. You would basically spam it just to get the Kiss of the Deep passive. So spells kind of have a minimum cost of like 2 winds of magic. But I'd be down to increase the duration of Spiteful Shot to like make it permanent, man. You know what? Make Spiteful Shot permanent. I'm sure it'd be fine. It's not that impactful. Accuracy is not that good. Unless you put it on Carronades. So Spiteful Shot is good on Carronades to counter snipe artillery. Actually, can we just take a look at that real quick? Elenasa. Get 2 of these. Get Silastra. And then we will go for Empire. We'll get 2 mortars so that they don't kill my crews. And then go to Sandbox. Could give it range. Dude, range would be so hype. Imagine a Queen Bess with 600 range. Now that would be cool. That would change Coast dramatically, man. They would be running Spiteful Shot in so many situations. I should add that to feedback. To CA. All right, feedback done. So here's the difference of Spiteful Shot. If you overcast it, it does last 72 seconds. So duration wise, you just overcast it and then it's fine. And you can see the one with Spiteful Shot with that accuracy bonus of 90. Look at that. Look at that craziness. Oh god. The one with Spiteful Shot did less damage. Now that's a good spell. That one's an oops-a-doopses. Did that actually just happen? Did that actually just happen? God dang it, man. Holy crap. Wow. Oh my gosh. CA, you really cooked up with this one. You really cooked up with this one. At least that volley did okay. They did a little bit better towards the end, but that's pretty disappointing. Wowza. Oh wait, no, the spell ran out. My bad. Wowza. Oh my gosh, look at that 0-second difference in the route. Man, I love these spells, man. Oh my gosh. Gotta love this is why people spam Flock of Doom, man. Way too inconsistent. Kind of a bad target. Most artillery is bigger. So you're telling me so you're telling me if I was like, man, I need to snipe some mortars, and then I look at a spell like this and I'm like, holy crap, it makes my units more accurate. Wowza, I can counter mortars, which are pretty good against Coast. Why don't I use Spiteful Shot? And you're telling me that's a misplay? That's a misplay. Alrighty, man. You want to see actually impactful magic for once? Give me a second. This is why I stopped playing Warhammer 3. The magic kept getting nerfed. I'm asking for buffs. They didn't even nerf. They didn't even nerf these. They Spiteful Shot's been the same since forever, man. All right, I've always wanted to see spells get buffed. All right. I told CA which spells were overperforming, and they're like, you know what we should do? We should nerf instead. All right, here. You know what's good against artillery? All right, give me a second. This is why. So here's the problem, right? You're telling me Spiteful Shot's a bad target, and then the anti-infantry burning head. Right, the anti-infantry burning head can do that and just instant delete them. Takes no time at all, right? And they're just gone. Although it didn't kill this one, but still though, that's just like guaranteed value, right? It's 16 wins of magic. You're for sure gonna kill them. They barely get any shots off. Like, that's impact, man. That's some hella impact. And then everyone blames the multiplayer community for getting buff spells nerfed. When I've been asking, or for getting damage spells nerfed, when I've been asking buff spells to get some love. Oh my gosh. What a shame, man. What a shame. What's the point of 90 plus 90 accuracy if basic artillery is a bad target? Yeah, a lot of dwarf artillery is short too. If you can't outshoot dwarf cannons, it means that the spell's like, what, you're only gonna use it against targets that it would already hit normally? Like what, like Skaven warp lightning cannons, I guess? Please don't make me go on a rant about spells again. It's true, we've been here too many times. Too many times! Too many times. Anyways, I'm really hoping CA just buff spells. I swear, if they nerf damage spells again, I'm gonna throw up. It's not needed, man. The true test. The thing is, I've been in the talks with them for a while now. So I really hope I got the message across properly. So multiplayer and single player can be balanced because you have the red line skill tree and tech tree buffs. So like they can do whatever they want, right? Technically spells, if they wanted spells to perform better in single player, just make it so that when you level up the spell, it just is even cheaper than usual. Like, it's the easiest thing in the world. I think CA just doesn't have, I think they just don't rank making things balanced. Like, I think they just want to have a bunch of cool things, and balance is pretty low on their priority list. Just based off of what we've seen in history, that's totally how they manage it. Does anyone know what accuracy units have anyways? I don't know, man. Yeah, just like, you know, if CA wants to make things better in campaign, there's like a million different ways it can do it. You know, number one, multiplayer exclusive changes can be done with cost changes, right? Change the price of the unit. Number two, campaign effects for faction-wide changes. Give them more economy on the campaign map, you're set. For units that you want to, you know, that can't be made stronger in multiplayer, give them a stronger red line skill tree. For magic, give them a better yellow line skill tree. Like, it's so easy, man. People have been saying this since Warhammer 1, though. I don't think you guys understand. Do you guys even know who Aerocrastic is? Let me look him up. What's his oldest video? Aerocrastic Warhammer. Aerocrastic Warhammer is like one of... Man, can you even still find his videos? I don't even know if you can still find his videos. Dang. But seriously, he's been in, like, he was in the community for ages. since the beginning. Warhammer 1, like grassroots, man. And he told CA, he's like, just make the red line skill tree better. Yeah, super OG, man, super OG. The fact that he gave them the solution like 7 years ago means that CA actually, it's just not in their priority list, right? We've been asking for it. We've been asking for it. I swear, they're trying to pit us against the... They're trying to pit the multiplayer and the single player community against each other. I was gonna say, you know, I have been playing a lot of multiplayer recently, but I like campaign too. Name rings a bell. Yo, he's sick. Well, he was a top tier player back in the day. But yeah, the thing is, right, like old CA, old CA did not really have a lot of they did not have a lot of like great, you know, systems that they do nowadays. I'm really interested to see the next update though. So like, here's the thing, right? If they don't implement things correctly in a way that's nice for this next update, I'm gonna have to wait 6 months before they make it better. 6 months? Oh god. How's the Kalita campaign doing? Kind of benched right now. Yeah, the weird thing about campaign right now is like I don't really feel like playing a lot of campaigns. Like, is there a campaign I'm really itching to play? People haven't even been asking me to play campaigns lately. I feel like, you know, I kind of don't really know what to do, right? I already played like a ton of Only War campaigns. I already played as like all the factions. When's the update coming? Who knows, man? Kalita's start position was fun though, yeah. Total accuracy value across Empire troops is 20. What does it mean though? What does it mean? Yeah, here's the thing though, right? We're the old folk. We're the old guard, all right? We're long beards at this point, bickering about Warhammer. We don't actually know, you know, I feel like we are definitely in a bit of a bubble. We can pretend we know, that's for sure. I'm gonna mention it. People are gonna say like, nah, man, of course we know what's up. But in the end, I can only be so sure. I like to err on the side of like, in terms of, you know, multiplayer, obviously I know more than CA, but in terms of like how to make a game successful, I'm no game dev. Unfortunately. Right? Like I don't run a company. I've never run a game development company before. So who knows, man. Anyways, we got next opponent. But yeah, everything I say is specifically for my community. And thankfully for me, CA, they have actually specifically, you know, it appears they care enough about my community to like ask what I specifically want from my community and what I would enjoy. So, you know, that's all I really need, right? I don't need to tell them how to manage a company. They just gotta, you know, they're just giving me the opportunity to make my bubble nice. Connection timed out. Say what? Yo, it's glitching out. I failed to host a game? What do you mean I failed to host a game? What's going on? Do I have internet? Are we still live? What the? Okay, I gotta restart. Something's glitching out, man. Yo, I'd be so ready for a Total War 40k. I would jump on that so hard. Oh my goodness. All right. Yeah, every campaign is very similar. A lot of turtling, get a doom stack, and then start winning. All right. So there's the lobby. Send it over. I'm playing vampire counts once again. Hell yeah. I'm vampire counts. What's he playing? Adam TM. SFT Declaration. They're playing Warriors of Chaos. Okay. Should be a fun one. You'd much rather get historical titles. I know a lot of people do enjoy their historicals. All right. I need to Maximillionaire this. Oh, he's corn. My bad. Really? He's corn? I thought it was Warriors of Chaos. Oh, yeah, no, it is corn. Yeah, because it's round 3. Whoa, that's going to be rough. Yeah, I've never really played a lot of historical titles. I kind of joined when Warhammer 2 was big. I joined during the golden age of Warhammer 2, so I don't really know what historical titles are like. I played a little bit of Three Kingdoms, but it didn't really drag me in that much. Let's see here. So we're playing against No, we're playing against Khorne, eh? So Khorne is a very annoying faction. Vlad. Get the Vlad in there. Wind of Death is not as effective against them. It really is just the Mortis engine. I could go Goose and Blood Dragon Lord. Goose and Blood Dragon Lord with I don't know. Gaze of Nagash is kind of sus into Khorne. But you know what you can do? You can melee them to death. Curse of Years. I don't know. His melee defense is so low, he's basically getting hit anyways, right? I guess Raise Dead is good enough. Curse of Undeath, the Hunger. And then, yeah, and they just take... You just take all the juice and put them on a dragon. So you have your 3 big single entities and you kind of just hunker down. I never played Medieval. A lot of people say good things about it, but I never did play myself. So this is mostly yeah, we got a bunch of single entities and we just hunker down. Yeah, Raise Dead in the heck is good enough. Chateau. And then I guess I need some mass. Man, this is a wacko build. This is such a wacko build, but you know what? Let's just play it out. Let's just play it out. I just want to see how this goes. Like, I think Vampire Counts and Vampire Coast both, they really only have the one playstyle. So I feel like it doesn't matter even if they do stream snipe. And then this way you guys get to see me pick my units too. Vargulfs do it. So Vargulfs and Vargeist, he can spam fell bats, but they are really good at killing his cavalry. He's probably gonna have cavalry. Or if he does, I want to protect my Terrorgeist and the Dragon Lord. So I'll probably go for that, and then the rest is just hella infantry, right? I think Marauders can't do anything here. Double Corpse Cart and Mortis Engine is insane healing. Absolutely insane healing. Anything else that I really need? Not much. Crypt Ghouls to capture. Like, I just gotta hunker down on that one point and then eventually take the second, and then I stop moving for the rest of the battle. Karen rates are kind of sus. Too much magic damage on that roster. Am I just spamming Skeleton Warriors, or do I want Crypt Ghouls? Crypt Ghouls are hype. These guys kind of hold for a long time, though. They do hold for a long time. And I'm mostly trying to get Mortis Engine value, so I might as well. I might as well go for this. Kind of a weird army, though. I don't know how I feel about this. Kind of feels strange. Whatever, it's good enough. It's mostly gonna come down to playstyle. Like, I need to just know how to play counts. It's not the build, it's actually maneuvering them. One Blood Knight seems okay. It'd be a little vulnerable. No Wind of Death? Nah. Khorne has too much magic resist for it to be worth it. And you kind of have to go double Necromancer, otherwise you don't have the Winds of Magic. Alrighty, he's ready. Let's see if I can get enough opponent points. The Grombrindle. God dang it, he lost versus Zone. Yo, Zone's gonna make it to the semis. But yeah, Wind of Death is really expensive. You only use it if you're bringing double Necromancer. Although it can be really good against, like, some of the more elite factions, like Cathay. Some of the low HP factions, like Dark Elves. But yeah, I'm gonna need a high-level player to match down against me if we're gonna make it. That one loss is gonna be rough. Also, yeah, Zone was my student. We taught him everything we knew. Alright, let's see if I can learn the Vampire Counts playstyle. So, I believe the way we want to do this, I'm pretty sure Vampire Counts, you probably just want to go for the one cap. The one capture point at the beginning. Against melee factions. Against range factions, you do want to, like, stuff them up and stuff. But then, like, man, what if they have melee grinders in a range faction? How are you supposed to beat that? Single entities, I guess? Maybe I just gotta go really hard on the single entities against, like, a faction like Chaos Dwarves. Even though that was a playstyle loss last time. I don't know. Whatever, we'll figure it out eventually. It's only a matter of time, right? We got loads of tournaments. Ready, good luck, have fun. So this is single entity maxing for sure. The double corpse cart is amazing. And I'm just gonna spam units, hunker down. Worst case scenario, he has a lot of range, but we can kind of buffer the skirmish with all of our healing. 7 units, triple Wrathmonger. Triple Wrathmonger against a Mortis Engine is TBD. I also have Breath Attacks and Cycle Charging. If he has triple Wrathmonger with single entities, though, we'll see. No way Blob Fight is viable. I think it is. Come on, this is like the Vampire Counts classic, man. So, what do I want? Probably, yeah. Probably want to get the zombies in there ASAP. So we have Skull Taker. Skull Reapers are way weaker to breath attacks. So I'm feeling pretty comfortable there. And I really am just buying time for the Mortis engine to get as much value as possible. That is the only prerogative. Dangerous versus Sword of Corn. It will take a little while for it to build up. I'm not too worried. Skull Taker in here. Skull Taker in the house. Okay. Yeah, let's just play a real blob 'em up style. Just play a real blob 'em up. Sit back, relax, have a good day. He has Chosen of Corn. Interesting. Gotta be careful with these guys. So he's on the move. Can I just summon zombies here? He's just gonna dodge it, right? Can I summon zombies on top and still get a breath attack? Is that gonna work? Kind of mistimed it. Whoopsie daisies. Well, I can get some cycle charging in. Whatever. They're just Chosen, man. Chosen kind of suck. There you go. Gives me a little bit of space there for my dudes. We got that capture. Is he really? Okay, I thought he was committing to that fight. That would have been crazy. All right, so we got some early Chosen bullying going on. Some of them did get caught up by the zombies, which is quite nice for us. I got my Mega Blob coming on in. Dang, he's really bullying those Crypt Horrors, though. There we go. We got our Skellies. That was a terrible zombie summon, man. I really gotta work on my vampire guts. At least Chosen lost a quarter HP. Skull Taker. Wait, did I forget Helm of Discord? I'm a noob. Took a Blood Dragon without Helm of Discord. What am I doing? No wonder we're not winning with counts. There's the Goose Charge. All right. And now we start healing up. Huzzah. We have a Mortis engine. Honestly, Skull Taker's kind of getting obliterated. Mortis engine just has to stay relatively safe. Doesn't really matter if we take a bit of damage. As long as the units don't die, we'll heal up just fine. Whoop. Another big charge. Another big charge. He's taking heat. He's gonna have to commit with his cav, otherwise Skull Taker's dead. I don't know where I casted that. Jankiest cast I've ever done in my life. All right, well, at least it gives me an opportunity to escape. Whoopsie daisies. Yeah, vampire counts definitely. It's a different play style. I gotta learn how to play them properly. At least the Mortis engining's going fine. Breath attack's going fine. Pretty solid breath attack over there. Hey, let's go, Chosen, taking some heat. And then we just grind here, right? Like, there's no way we lose this after having a Mortis engine just sap all of his HP here. I have Vargeists too. They can bully him. Mortis is doing great. He can kill off his little Minotaurs now. Mortis doing fine. Zombie summon doing fine. And then if I just value trade, we're fine. I feel like you really didn't need to take this fight. Okay, there's a good zombie summon. There we go. All right. That one felt quite nice. Oh, that's a Sword of Corn. Does it matter? How much does it matter? Yeah, quite a bit of damage. Is it healing enough though? So this was a test, right? Does the blobbing work against Sword of Corn? I think it does. I personally think he's just gonna run out of units because I'm maximizing the healing right now. As long as none of them crumble to death, I'm okay. They're just in the crumbling zone. Don't worry, the leadership will stabilize. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It didn't matter. We're still fine. The healing was too much. Vampire counts blobbing technology. He was definitely way too aggressive. Now it's just over. Corn struggling. I know, right? Corn's getting obliterated. Chosen are not it. They are not it. Absolutely not. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. Though, like, you know, we did lose his counts earlier. We did lose his counts. The moment you break out of the blob is where I think counts start suffering. I really think you just want to sit in a fat blob with counts most of the time. You know what? Just never go wide. Clearly, the blob is the way. Yeah, Chosen are really bad. Did you know they don't have ITP? Did you know a Slanesh Marauder is more resistant to terror routes than Khorne Chosen? Look at them. They have Frenzy, but when their leadership's low, they'll get routed off. Pretty crazy. All right, let's just close this one out. He has now lost everything he holds dear. The Mortis engine continues to live. Although I will say he did get some pretty good work on it. Its value is already at 2,000 plus its healing. It's not necessarily a Chosen issue. Say what? For what? The ITP or what? Oh, I guess you're saying it's a Slanesh issue. It's true. Though I will say Chosen definitely, I feel like they should totally have I feel like they should totally have ITP. Yeah, they're so elite, man. It just makes sense. All right, so then we bully the Skull Taker. And then I secure this point with Crypt Ghouls, which are better capture weight than zombies. They just have less HP. Slanesh Mark definitely is a bit too much, yeah. The Slanesh Mark needs a lot of work. Strider and ITP are insanely good for multiplayer. I think it's totally because Slanesh is pretty bad in campaign. Because of a mix of issues. So then they like way overtune them for multiplayer. That's my theory anyways. I don't have the inner workings of CA. Generally Chosen don't route until they're at like 10%. These guys did rally. Like, you know, they do have a base 85 leadership, which is really high. It is kind of weird to see like a shock attack kill Chosen though. There are many times where a Lord Death and a rear charge and the Chosen are gonzo. It's a little awkward. Talusa, thank you very much for the $5. Much appreciated. Dang. It really is. It helps a lot more than you could ever imagine. There's a triple cap. Yeah, so I feel like Khorne should have just played for 2 points here. And then we both just kind of build up. I think by playing so aggressively at the start, he lost his advantage, which was mobility. Also, yeah, that goose. Did we kill the Skull Taker? Is he dead? He lives. The Skull Taker lives. Anyways, generally, I think the way you do this is after you secured 1 point and you start going for the second, you don't usually go for the third unless you're really ahead. But as Vampire counts, I think after you secured the first point, that's when you go for... That's when you leave 1 corpse cart to heal and hunker down, because the corpse cart's great. It's almost impossible to knock him off the point unless you're spamming Marauders, and it also has decent capture weight itself. Well, I will say he is actually knocking it off the point, and then you bring in the Mortis engine to clear off this point. Mortis engine's good because it has the Mortis obviously, but also an extra healing effect, which can be really nice. That tiny bit of extra healing means they're getting 0.1 every second %. What is ITP? Yeah, immune to psychology, which makes you immune to terror routes. It's pretty nice. Okay, pretty good vampire counts win. I think I really have to like. I think my biggest weakness is changing mindset mid game. Or yeah, like changing mindset between tournaments. Cause like I play the fastest faction sometimes, you know. I'm playing Kislev with like 110 speed cap. Like the moment I do it properly, right? we just crushed it, you know. That was brutal. 2,600 gold Mortis engine. Like, geez. How would you change the Slanesh mark if you were in full control? Oh boy. How would I change the Slanesh mark? That's what I do. I would go here. Come on, game. Why you gotta be so glitchy? Slanesh, mark of Slanesh. Currently, it gives you ITP, Strider, physical resist, and speed. Physical resist kind of makes sense because like the unit's faster. But screw that business. I think I would give the Slanesh mark no physical resist. Give it charge bonus. Remove the Strider. And give it a bigger speed amplification. I think a faction that is literally a speed demon faction should go way harder on the speed. Strider doesn't really make sense to me. Strider is like, why is being fast, like, how does that make you better at running up hills? You know, it's kind of weird, right? Just make them faster in general. Remove the ITP, remove the physical resist, remove the Strider, just to make them faster, okay? I think that's already enough of a massive bonus. You know, like, Demonettes of Slanesh being almost cavalry speed is hilarious, and I love it. Okay, like, this should be basically cavalry. They have the same HP as cavalry anyways, okay? Yeah, just give it charge bonus and speed, and I think it's fine. Strider because they are very flexible. Like, tentacles have to be inconvenient when you're in like a thorny forest, right? How is Slanesh better at moving through cacti because of Strider? Like, it doesn't make sense. Would you do anything to make Tzeentch's mark more interesting? I think it's fine. Tzeentch's mark right now is what? Shields and magic attacks. I think it's fine. Shields is a new mechanic. It's you know, it's kind of cool to see, you know, to have a faction where everyone has shields. I think regenerating the shields though is really cheesy, but you know, I think it's cool. You know, I think I would increase the barrier and have units have less HP. I think that would make it a lot more interesting. Right now, units have about 10% shield, and it doesn't really do much more than just an HP boost. It would be really cool if Tzeentch didn't start losing entities until after they lose their shields. And it's like, man, they have so many shields. Make the regeneration a lot worse. You know what? Screw the shield regeneration, all right? Have shield regeneration be an activated ability that you can trigger by casting spells. So there's a limited amount of shield regen you can get. None of this timed crap, all right? This ain't Protoss. Make it so that shields don't regen. Make it a much larger part of their HP pool. Lower their HP, and then they'll feel like you really have to break their shields, and then entities start dying really quickly. I think that would be way more interesting. Just rework that barrier mechanic. Magic attacks is fine. It's Tzeentch. They should have magic everywhere. See, it really got spooked by the shields because they're really hard to balance. Balance is easy, man. Dude, balance is the easiest thing in the world, okay? At least in terms of like making sure units are fine. Okay, it's not that easy, but I'm not on the balance team. But in general, you just need time, right? You can achieve rough unit strength balance like way better than what we have right now by just getting a bunch of interns, all right, and have them unit test against each other until the units are roughly at the right price. Most of the imbalanced units are because you know, the unit just straight overperforms. And then after that, it's like faction balance. Just make sure that all factions have rough counters to everything. the factions that are most balanced right now, who would have guessed it? That are like fairly good against many factions. They have tools versus everything, right? So like Kislev have usable skirmish, they have usable cavalry, they have usable infantry, they have usable single entities, and hey, look at that, it's a fairly balanced faction, right? Khorne doesn't have usable cavalry, then they have really bad matchups in situations where they need cavalry. It's actually, it's a very common trend that I'm seeing. Now that I've played all of the factions, we got World Champion, right? Tzeentch, they have really bad cavalry. You know what they're struggling against? Rushing down backlines, ranged factions to shoot them to death. You know, like, it's, but like, you know, all this just needs time, right? You just need more employees to be focused on this stuff to get it to work. So yeah. And in the case with shields, right? You know, just tune the numbers, just make them more or less expensive. Dwarf cavalry. Yeah, you know, but yeah, balanced rosters end up being fairly balanced against many factions. And then in the end, right, you know, like the idea of having a rush faction where it's like, okay, the only thing they can do is rush, that's fine, but they still need tools to deal with stuff like kite, right? So Norska, for example, Norska should have something to deal with kite because they don't have every playstyle. So probably make their slows stronger, right? Make them stronger, just up the number until Norska's better against kite. But like, you know, there's no one at CA that's playing as much multiplayer as me. There's no one that has the same knowledge that I do. And even then, I don't even have all the knowledge in the game. We're still losing with counts, right? Which is why if they really wanted to nail it, they just gotta hire like, you know, a team of what, 24 pro players. Technically, all CA needs to do is get 24 employees and say, we want you to play multiplayer games against each other until you want to throw up, okay? Hire a faction main and then also give them a course in game design and balance. And then they'd be fine. Probably, I don't know. I'm no developer though. This might be a terrible idea. But I feel like it would be, you know, the multiplayer scene would be way better. It'd be a benefit regardless compared to what we have now. You just gotta hire people. That's all they gotta do. Just hire people. And I don't think they can do that right now. Oh my gosh, Lord items. Oh my gosh, just so many things that need to be reworked. Let's see here. Fight or die. I don't think I've seen people use fight or die in like ages, man. Fight or die is very uncommon. Lizard man, you know, tic-tac-toe, right? Unfortunately, designing content around multiplayer doesn't sell the game more. It doesn't matter. CA does actually care about multiplayer. Regardless of your thoughts on if multiplayer is actually a good choice or not, CA has decided that they want to listen to content creators more. It's the only reason I am in the content creator program, because I feel like I'm being listened to. So, yeah. Oh, we're in the next round already. Hell yeah, I'm Vampire Coast, up against Nacho Fur. I don't think I'm making it to semis though. There's a lot of really good players that have signed up today. The odds are unlikely. We will give it our best shot nonetheless. Coast versus Khorne. It's very similar to the Norskin matchup. Spent too much on my army setup. What is this? There we go. I don't know what changed, but sure. I'm getting called. I don't know who that is. All right. All that. CA telling you to stop bad mouthing them. Actually, I was bad mouthing them. And then, what's it? They actually made a pretty good effort to make sure that I was getting listened. I got contacted by them. That's the only reason, you know, I stopped. Or at least, you know, I was talking with them, right? And then I was like, I feel really frustrated right now about everything because it feels like I'm not being listened to. And then their community manager was just straight up like, hey, here are the avenues to listen. I am open to hear everything you're willing to say. And then we talked for like 2 weeks straight about everything that was bothering me. They implemented some decisions that helped me feel like I was getting listened to, and then we're good. Like, this is not like me shilling for them. I already said so before. If I felt like I wasn't getting listened to, I'd totally just leave the content creator program, right? Like, what's the point being there, right? I get a couple DLCs for free. I guess that's pretty nice, but I guess that's pretty nice, but you know, like it's very annoying to feel like you're not listened to. Like, I would be telling you guys. But yeah. It sounds like they just hired a psychiatrist for you. Well, that's what community managers are for, right? Now, here's the thing. If the next patch comes out and like nothing gets implemented, then I'll be frustrated again. All right, trust me. I can get frustrated. Just listen to me talk about buff spells. Anyways, if you don't believe me, then whatever. But that is what happened. I feel like Dowie don't need cavalry. Dowie need let's see, what do they need? Well, first of all, they need to fix range units. Once they get range units fixed, dwarves will probably be a lot better into cavalry as a baseline. And then it might flip around the other way again, where dwarves become too strong. TBD, TBD. 100% I guarantee you, they're probably going to fix range units and not change their costs or rebalance them. I should actually double check with that. Just remind them to, because I'm pretty sure it's likely that if CA buffs range units, they're not gonna price rebalance. So I'm gonna send a message to beg them to do that. I thought they patched range units recently. Are they still awful? Yes. They even said in the blog that it's only step 1 of the range fixes. There are many other things. There are many other things. You hate hearing fixed range units? Why? What's up? I think right now, the biggest thing is line of sight. A lot of units have really bad line of sight right now. So turning and firing is a little bit better now. I think there's a few edge cases where it's a little awkward to get them to shoot. But the biggest thing is line of sight. You can see, like, you see it when one single entity is directly beside another single entity. Doesn't really matter the size. There can be Cetra on a Sphinx and Kemmler on a horse. And if Sutra is beside Kemmler, a Bone Giant would not shoot Kemmler. It might still shoot Sutra though, but the Bone Giant won't shoot Kemmler even if he does have clear line of sight, no other infantry nearby. But yeah. I mean, they are what they are, and there isn't a single problem. Well, like, that doesn't mean that they're not... they aren't broken, right? Like, I think it's fairly fair to say that line of sight is broken, unless I'm, like, terribly mistaken. There's, like, a lot of janky stuff. Like, I don't think it's, like, a game design decision, right? You know? For them to randomly scoot forwards. Well, I guess like maybe it was a decision at some point, but like, you know, I think it's like intentional design to be like, yeah, they should just take a couple steps forwards as to slowly try and get line of sight, and then until they eventually hit melee. But yeah, line of sight's crazy, man. I don't think it's fair to say they are what they are. Like, you know, it's fine to say like range units in general in the meta right now are weak, but like there's some things that are pretty bad. There won't ever be a fixed state for range units. I think there absolutely can be. You know, pessimism is easy. Pessimism is easy, but like, have you seen what they've done to cavalry and chariots? It's very arguable right now that cavalry and chariots, and look, I generally tend optimistic, so take it for what it is, but cavalry and chariots are in some of the best situations like ever right now. I don't think we've had a better meta where we've been seeing cavalry and chariots played, but neither are oppressive. Do you guys remember the Tuskor chariot shenanigans of Warhammer 2? And remember, Warhammer 2 was the golden age. Warhammer 2 was peak Warhammer, okay? And even then, you know, they were kind of busted, all right? I'm just telling you, 4 Tuskor chariots killed Mazdamundi. I don't think that was pretty broken, okay? And they fixed that. Genuinely, chariots are actually anti-infantry, weak to cavalry right now. Cavalry are pretty good. Infantry mass is pretty good, except for Skaven. Skaven still suck, but you know, it feels like cavalry are at least playable. You know, you can bring them in. You've seen Charix taking those guys, so like, you know, we can easily be like, range units will never hit the same situation, but yeah, Slaanesh cavalry isn't impressive at all. That is a straw man, my dude. Dim Dum, don't live up to your name, man. Don't live up to your name. Dude, that's a total straw man. When did I say Slaanesh cavalry is an OP? You bump the price up on it and you're fine. I'm saying cavalry in general, brother. What do you mean? Slaanesh cavalry is broken because they're just way too cheap for the price. You think he was being sarcastic? I don't know, man. If he was, though, it's very hard to get across in chat. Anyways, yeah, yo, Warhammer 2 chariots are crazy, man. Tuskors killing, like, Tuskors could kill a Dreadsaurian. It was crazy. Okay, maybe not Dreadsaurian, but they could definitely kill Mazdamundi. It was hilarious. Anyways. Archaon getting massacred by Sortha Ek. Sortha Ek chariot hordes. Yeah, honestly, I kind of like that. That was kind of funny, but anyways, here we go. We have our game. We have a game. We got the Morin goals. It's the same thing as last time. The idea here is to just blast them with bombers and then you win. It's fairly simple. There's not a lot over here that I really have to worry about. I just gotta stack up the forces. Formation's a little annoying to get going here because of the tight deployment zone, but we'll have to make do. Line of sight's gonna be a little bit rough if I don't play this out just right. So I'm gonna have to go wide, basically, as soon as the battle starts. Janky kiting consequences? What do you mean by janky kiting consequences? What do you mean by that? I guess we could just say kiting might get too strong though, right? Like, if people are kiting with thunderers, that'd be pretty sus. Anyways, we have a game. He has gone for Scar Bloodwrath. Valkia. Okay, so he wants to Scar Bloodwrath, Silostra's face off. I've seen this before. By the way, big armies suck at moving. There's like some weird pathing blockers here. Such is life. He has Chaos Warriors into the horizon. No heavy magic damage, so that's pretty nice. I'm just going to post up, get comfy, and then I should be fine. Silostra is essentially going to stand in a little pocket of guns. So if he decides to commit, they're just going to get blasted. He would need single entity support at the same time. A little bit of a Valkia spear, but it's okay. And then if we just kind of position well enough, I should be okay. Marauders are not too bad. He only has the one Chaos Warrior there. And he is lacking magic damage, so definitely time for the Sirens. Scar Bloodwrath will just keep him busy in the zombies for a little while. Not a big deal in the slightest. And yeah, we're just gonna chill. There's really not much else to it. It's a coast game. How well can he stop the bombers from getting value? We will see. His Marauders are playing very safe on that side, so I think my right side is the most vulnerable right now. We'll see if we can manage that. Oh, chariots. I didn't catch the chariots. Tiny bit unfortunate. Bombers on Marauders. That's perfect. Plus some handgunners on them too. They'll ride to the Sirens. Overall, Silostra doesn't really have too many targets that are worth hammering right now. He's just kind of going for a big old rush, right? Big old rush into the backlines. But I have many a gun. So if I just kind of get these pistol mobs in here to support my forces, it should be a fairly rough time. And then wherever he blobs up, like with these Chaos Warriors, we get our big old spell cast. So they should rout off. There should be much less support in general. And then we win the game. I think we will summon our Ghost Cav now just to deal with these annoying chariots. But he's getting massacred, man. Although value trading is actually kind of close. Maybe not so much. Maybe not so much. We got to be careful. As long as all my units are activated, I'm fine though. Like you see this one pistol mob, they're not really doing anything right now. They need to be participating in the fight, getting their shots off. Same with the bombers. They got to be getting the bombs off. And it's just kind of making sure all your new units are doing something. When you get 20 stacks like this, that is the most important thing. Warhounds is a crazy choice. The Warhounds are really bad against everything on the roster. So I really question if they'll be able to do much. We shall see. His spawn are on the run. Lots of routes overall. And yeah, there you go. Now the value is starting to go in our favor. Look at those knights too, just deleting his chariots. We'll need Hulks there eventually though. Remember your vows. You know, they're still fighting Khorne. I guess they're happy about it. But yeah, the knights are gonna disappear soon, so we're just gonna whip the Hulks out and put them in. Sword of Khorne gets 400 value. Very not worth. And this is what I was talking about, right? So he's gonna try and go for the Silostra snipe now, but I have a bunch of pistol mobs ready to support her. And Silostra in general is pretty hard to snipe too. Oh, corn dogs versus the Sirens. I might have to try pulling them out. Otherwise, it could get very sus very quickly. What we got? Just a couple marauders there. I guess I'll just get some bombers, sure. Anything else I gotta do? Not really. Sirens took a bit of damage, but they did live in the end. And Valkia now is in the firing zone. Unfortunately, they may have a hard time getting line of sight. Should still be fine in general. I'll just normal cast this to get rid of the Chaos Warriors. And yeah, I think his big rush just wasn't enough. Still feels like I have 24 units to his 13. How is the trading even, man? I don't know if that's like some weird trading value shenanigans or what, but something's off, man. He's basically tabled and I have an entire army at my back. I don't know what's going on. Regardless, I should be able to get a pretty nice capture steal here. The Kraken King. Yo, he's getting wrecked, man. Oh, Valkyrie does have magic damage. Let's be careful about that. Why don't we just slap her around with some Morngulls? Valkyrie is weirdly a very bad fighter. Valkyrie kind of sucks at fighting. I don't know what it is about her, but she always just... I feel like if she had more mass. If Valkyrie had more mass, she would definitely be a much stronger threat. But I feel like she's always getting caught in infantry. Anyone else get that vibe? It straight up is the Valkyrie trailer. Valkyrie trailer 24/7. Minotaurs of Khorne will pull back these guys. They are great weapons. Don't want to get anti-larged. There we go. Man, this game's lagging. It's because I'm playing undead. Got a poor trailer. Yeah, this is the currently deployed units. So I have 24 out of my 35 units on the field. He has 11 out of 23. The bombers are staggering this guy really well. Nice to see. Nice to see. This might be going too wide, but whatever. We're doing fine enough. I feel like we are ahead enough to just do this. So I lost actually get a pretty mean hit there. Only 900 value. Definitely could be a bit better. But yeah, just the few surviving pistol mobs are just going to be an absolute pain in the butt now. Sort of Khorne drops on some bombers, but they already used their ammunition. I guess it's probably because he spent all his money on Scar Bloodwrath, right? Yeah, he has the healing on him that hasn't used anything. Yeah, I think he way overspent on Scar. Because like all my money is still in my infantry, right? Valkia has... Okay, she went pretty cheap. He dodged my spell cast. Unfortunate. Yeah, it really feels like he has nothing though, right? I wish I could trust the gold damage value. Something's up, man. I swear, they should just replace this with gold on the battlefield. That's another suggestion I gave a bit earlier. A gold on battlefield value would just be it would make so much more sense, man. Because everybody looks at this and they're like, huh, it's pretty even. Or they, even worse, they look at the tickets to determine who's ahead or not. If it just showed gold on battlefield, it would be a perfect representation of who's ahead. Also, yeah, cultists kind of suck against Morngulls. That's why we got him. Scar Bloodwrath, kind of, you know, getting bogged down there. And now he basically has no capture weight, right? Worst case scenario, I'll just Morngull. He has infantry size, so he is weak to Morngulls. Looks like he's going for the high ground point. What do I want? Bombers? Oh yeah, definitely zombie deckhands. So zombie deckhands are like the most cost efficient zombie unit in the game right now. They're fairly good fighters and they're dirt cheap. They trade evenly into marauders, essentially. But they only cost 250 instead of 400. They're so good, man. So good. Love your stream. Thank you. Did you think that it is decent to play domination against the AI to start learning multiplayer? I think it's fine, but you will probably graduate past that fairly quickly. at least in my head. But you know, if AI is the level that that gives you a good challenge, go for it, man. Go for it. It'll get you easy games in a safe environment. You won't get stomped on ladder. I personally like to play against the toughest opponents possible, because I feel like I learn a bit faster doing that. But like, you do you, man. You do you. That's the joys about gaming. You get to do what you want. No bloated corpses. You are free to dislike for the no bloated corpses. I actually don't know how much dislikes actually hurt the channel. I think it might actually not do it that much, but let's not test the theory. Let's not test the theory. This is kind of my job. I'd rather not run into any issues. All right, this is going great, right? Spawn of Corn. Interesting pick. Bro, Scar Bloodwrath, man. Dude, this is why abilities can suck on characters. Sometimes you just don't do anything. So his Bloodborne ability, great game, by the way, hasn't triggered yet. So that means my opponent has been about 400 gold down for like the entire battle. Like between, I think, at least I think you have to pay for these. Maybe you don't. Maybe he did take a naked Bloodwrath. Is Inevitable Horror good? I don't know. I just feel like he did nothing this game. What did he do? 1,000 value. Bro did nothing. Can I shoot him to death now? Is this the part where we shoot him with pistols? I don't know. Then again, I do like my big monstrous single entities. Those are very fun. Pistols, unfortunately, not doing too much. But yeah, nothing can beat the Mourngull Tide. Nothing can defeat the Mourngull Tide. Which means it comes down to, do I have enough opponent points by beating Grombrindle? My guess is, or losing to Grombrindle. My guess is probably not. I think my opponent points are in the dumpsters. But I will cast the semifinals for y'alls, and then there'll be a day. Sounds like you should take a bloated corpse. I'm still trying to get them buffed to a usable level. 400 gold is not good enough for bloated corpses to be meta. I still can't believe they reduced their cost by 25. I don't know what possessed CA to reduce their cost by 25. That was really weird, man. I don't know. Wonder if you have any tips for playing Dark Elves in Domination. They feel so weak into everything. Yeah, you need to maximize their faction passive. So their faction passive is actually insanely powerful. It's a roughly like 10 Winds of Magic buff spell cast on every unit in your army. Actually even more. Think of it as a 15 Winds of Magic spell on your whole army. If you look at Occam's Mind Razor and compare it to the Dark Elf passive, army passive, it is stronger than Occam's Mind Razor in many situations. Better vigor, gives you melee attack, and gives you infinite leadership. So naturally, if you're getting about, you know, like 60 Winds of Magic worth of raw spell passive, worth of raw faction passive value, you should make the most out of it. And that means you should try and delay your attack, and all your units should be fighting when the passive triggers. If you do that, you'll generally be fine. Spamming more of their infantry is better for that. But yeah, pretty good Silastra. Pretty good Silastra versus Corn. You know, I didn't get to play against any of like the top dogs today. But, you know, I think my coast is... I gotta practice it more. I definitely have to practice it more. But coast feels, you know, comfortable enough. I'll probably try and bring them out in some of the other tournaments. I'm thinking next week I'll be playing 5 faction tournaments. And doing, you know, just getting the diversity in. Yeah, I'm in the pits for opponent points. Grombrindle lost too many games. Dang it, Grombrindle. He only has 1 win. Oh my gosh. Grombrindle knocked me out. But yeah, I gotta work on... I think I gotta work on my coast and thing. Anyways, Scar Bloodbath, not a lot of value. Valkia, decent. Mournguls, pretty good though. Pistol mobs did great. Look at that, 500. I'm telling you, they're a menace, man. This guy's an absolute menace. The only reason Vampire Coast is an OP is because the other units are a bit lackluster, which means they don't have a lot of counters, or they have a lot of hard counters. When do you bring out your favorite mass crab build again? This is the reason I don't like Vampire Coast right now. They way too many hard counters. Crabs suck. Sirens are really janky a lot of the time. Can you see how expensive his Lord was? Sure. Valkia typically runs you... Doesn't she run 700 most of the time? With the spear? 1500, okay. Scar Bloodwrath. So he took Inevitable Horror. Oh, the heal is... Oh, okay, the heal comes packed in. Okay, so he did take him cheap. That's my bad. In the end, he's still 1600. Didn't really do much. Inevitable Horror affects all units in 35 meters. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, Double Crab's okay, but like... very easily countered. Very easily countered. And honestly, Mantide is just so much better. You get a little bit of cycle charging and they're dead. Super dead. Would having cavalry fix coast? Yes, but in the worst way possible. I don't want to turn every faction into Empire. I guess that's also kind of a straw man, but I want to stay as far away from that as possible. So, like, you know, you could give Skaven and Coast cavalry, but that just makes them so much less exciting. They should just have something that substitutes the place of cavalry. Yeah, Bloodwrath never gets into the fight. He was meant to snipe Silostra, but he couldn't get it. Is Scarbrand worth it? Sometimes. Scarbrand's a very good fighter, and he has a rampage ability to rampage skirmishers. So he brings a tool that the rest of the roster doesn't really have. It's nice. Anyways. But yeah, generally, I think I don't like giving cavalry because it makes the factions too samey. I would rather they have other solutions. Exploding bats. We need bloated bats. Coast needs better heroes. The heroes are very overpriced, yes. So there's a weird thing where CA really... I feel like they overvalue infantry casters with decent melee stats. So if we compare an Empire caster of death, right? He's weak. He can't really fight anything. Compare him to a fleet captain with nothing. So this fleet captain costs 600. So you're paying 250 more gold. That is almost an Empire Spearman. For what? For the 35 melee attack, I guess? They're still just as squishy. They'll die to fireballs. You don't want to send them into the fight. That's a terrible idea. So in terms of like the job the caster's supposed to do, yeah, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. I would rather have an Amethyst Wizard and an Empire Spearman defending him than one fleet captain, right? Yeah, it's just so much more cost efficient. Hybrid units really get overcosted, I feel. Seahorse cavalry. They only work in water, though. Otherwise, they're just flopping around. It is a vampire. Can't suck in combat. Well, yeah, but vampires aren't known for costing a lot of money. That's why. That's the whole point. Just make them a bit cheaper. I feel like if she was, you know, if she was like, like just make her like 50 to 100 more gold than the Amethyst Wizard, not like 250. Like, cause you know, realistically, the unit is basically the same. Nobody sends their fleet captain into melee, and no one's excited about getting melee attacks off with them. Like, sure, the melee attack is like good, but like, it's not that much of a buff, man. And it's really hard to like, you know, I don't know. Well, like, the fact of the matter is we don't really see this character. They kind of just have to take it, but it comes down to pricing. That's why you don't see Luther Harkin and a fleet captain, because they're just too expensive. Like, if you take this lady with the spell and this guy with Spirit Leech. Oh, he already has Spirit Leech. Oh god, never mind. It's even worse than I thought. Yeah, so this guy with Spirit Leech and this lady with Spirit Leech, she costs twice as much. So it's just a playstyle you can't do. If you want a defensive caster with leeching, you literally can't run it. It's just not worth. Yeah, so this guy with nothing is 250, which is fine. Which is fine for a super squishy wizard. You know, that I think that's apt. Maybe even a bit too cheap, but this is so expensive, man. It's like, would you rather have this lady or like a whole Sigmar Sons? You're getting into mid-tier infantry range. Mortars are a little bit weak for Coast 2, yeah. In the current multiplayer meta, mortars are kind of rough. If transformation of Kadan actually perma-transformed the caster, would the Manticore unit actually be good? Are Manticores actually worth it? So transformation of Kadan would not be worth unless they made it way cheaper, because currently you lose your caster, right? That's pretty bad. And Manticores are easily routed. And no one runs transformation of Kadan usually anyways. Sometimes people do it though. But it's usually to suicide the Manticore into whatever unit you want to take out. And you usually do that early in the game, which is the worst time to lose your caster. So if they did change it, it would be way worse. Unless you made it really cheap. Make the spell cost 2 winds of magic? Sure. And yeah, Rampage is a really powerful effect. Faction, like, abilities at Rampage are super strong in multiplayer. Really weak in single player, kind of just annoying, but in multiplayer it's very impactful. Make it a timed transformation and they're unbreakable for the duration. It'd be cool. Be cool. It does make them a bigger target, but if they ever get sniped, if a lord jumps them, then they can transform, and then maybe it's a bit better. There's a weird thing though where infantry sized characters are actually stronger than Manticores at times, because they get knocked around. Which kind of makes them tankier. So if I had to fight an Amethyst Wizard, so if you're like Intensity, kill either an Amethyst Wizard or a Manticore as fast as you can, I would pick the Manticore. Manticore dies to shooting, single entity fights, you know, and the like. Dies to bonus versus large infantry. An Amethyst Wizard has way fewer counters because large units will knock them around. Even Cav surrounds too. Can army abilities be disabled in tournaments? Nope. No way about it. Infantry have the same special power as Ken in Street Fighter. What's this? They know downfall Fu? Oh god. Yeah, yo, the infantry characters. Yeah, this guy's so cheap, man. It really opens up a different playstyle for Empire. Anyways, before I put too much effort into it, I want to see how much CA implements a lot of the requested changes. They still haven't fixed single entities getting launched 80 yards. Yeah, that one, I don't think anyone in the community's actually like complained about it. They kind of just take it as is. Unlike the range units, which sometimes shoot, sometimes they don't shoot. Infantry characters pretty consistently are very hard to kill. So the fact that you can play around it is kind of... I think that's why people kind of just like, yeah, if you want to kill an infantry character, use Spirit Leech or like Fireballs and such. Don't use big single entities. It doesn't make any sense though. It absolutely doesn't make any sense. And there is some weird jankiness where like Nakari can have a hard time killing infantry, and then it gets a bit annoying. But yeah, it's true. They have not changed it. Alrighty, now there's a second tournament today, but I think I'm just gonna take it easy. I'll just cast the semis and the finals, and then I'll call it a day. We'll be back on Monday, maybe even Sunday, but don't count on it. Yeah, can't wait to play more Warcraft 3. I've kind of been itching to play Warcraft 3 after I started winning some games. So I started winning some games, and like, it's pretty fun, man. The ladder is actually good. Oh my gosh. Take a break. It depends. If I have the energy, I might as well. Like, it's fun to stream, man. Sometimes I just want to stream. But I will be careful not to burn myself out. How would you buff the Necrofex Colossus? Easy option. If I were to tell CA, I would say make it cheaper, because I think that's the easiest, lowest effort option. Doesn't need that much testing. If I had to make the unit more interesting, the highest effort thing is I would make it crouch down when it shoots cavalry instead of standing up. That way it shoots more at cannon level and it cleaves cavalry more. Let's see here. Honestly, like, so Necrofex should just be a cavalry deleting tool, right? But this, it's already like, you know, a lot of it's already kind of locked in, right? It has 3 cannon balls that it shoots. It can't be accurate. That doesn't really make sense. Yeah, you give it a grape shot ability, so you can switch to grape shot mode and then just blast infantry. Now that would be cool, man. That would be so cool. Imagine a Necrofex grape shot. Holy crap, yo, that'd be so sick. Oh my gosh. It's just like, just shotgun shells the tiny guys in front of it. Yeah, because right now it does kind of suck versus infantry. And the closer units get, the more it sucks. Because the cannons are like shooting down at an angle. So they really don't hit infantry that well. Thought it was 4 cannonballs? I thought it was 3. Necrofex. Missile. 4 projectiles. I guess I was wrong. I never run the unit. You're right. You're right. Opponents would whine about it a lot. You can't really deal with, you know, people whining about things that are strong. People whined about bombers until Vampire Coast was no more. Although bombers are still strong, so it's not that bad. I think the biggest sadness, and this was ages ago, so I guess it doesn't happen as much anymore, but I think the Ancient Salamander used to have like a cool contact effect or something. Like, I think it used to have like it used to be really cool. It had like some kind of weird effect, but I think they removed it. Was it just a flammable though? I can't remember. There's something about it though that got removed before. That was sad. But yeah, generally people don't like really impactful things. Oh, wine and grapes. What does wine have to do? Anyways, it's still true. Yeah, a lot of people don't like the super powerful things with hard counters. So I never really had a problem with super strong bomber units. So miners with blasting charges and vampire coast with bomber mobs. At the highest level, people knew how to beat these units. You kill these guys with range units. You kill blasting charges with cavalry. This is why coasts and dwarves are really good at the lower levels, but they're really weak at the highest level. Now, I could see an argument for making things better for, you know, the 90% of players. That makes sense. But it is a little sad to see. It's kind of like Psystorm in StarCraft, right? You know, any AoE. Yeah, it means that I basically don't get to see dwarves or it means I don't really get to see dwarves or coast at the highest level. How do Cathay bombers perform? I never see them. Really badly. You guys want to see a demonstration of Cathay bombers? Archers. We'll pair them up against bloodletters. So the Cathay bombers are more expensive than archers, I'll have you know. Yes, to cut to the chase, they do really little damage, but it is actually quite extraordinary how little damage they do. I think what we need right now is a good DLC. That's what we need. So these guys have much better range. So they're able to get their volleys off at the beginning, which already gives them a pretty good lead. Can the bombers catch up though? I guess against AFK bloodletters, it's not bad. Man, it takes a lot of volleys though, doesn't it? All right. So yeah, that's the difference. Remember, this unit is 25% more expensive too. In a vacuum, they do, you know, 2,000 more damage over the course of 2 minutes. They gotta walk up first. This ability is not that impactful either. The duration of 31 seconds it's fine, but you know, it's not like a back-breaking thing. Buff spells are generally not that impactful. Yeah, it's okay. It's not that great. Yeah. Yeah, the really interesting thing though is how little people are valuing this ability. It's crazy. So yeah, I brought this comparison up before. So this ability, -24 for 31 seconds. This is 17 seconds. Upgrade it, it's 34. So the craziest thing in my head is that these guys have a 10 winds of magic spell bound and they're still not used for 500 gold. Imagine if each one of those guys came packed with a burning head. Holy crap. Holy crap. People would spam them like no tomorrow, man. That would be so hilarious. But yeah, no, it's just this. It's AoE too, so it's actually better than, I think that makes it better because this is not AoE, right? Yeah, that's crazy. So they have an AoE overcast enfeebling foe, and it's not enough to make them meta. God dang, man, that's crazy. Opinion of the Chorfs, good, but too many counters. Good, but far too many counters. Oh, we're getting to the semis now. Hell yeah. But yeah, imagine if they all had Burning Head, man. Oh my gosh. That would be so hilarious. That's how CA should... the voice crack. That's how CA should test spells. Just give units bound spells and then sub them out for each other and see if the unit becomes OP. I swear, if they had a bound burning head, they don't even need their bombs, man. If they just had a bound burning head, I think people would run the unit. They would just run the unit and then just tank the melee. Oh my god, it'd be so jokes, man. Anyways, let's get to the games. Who's gonna benefit from Heaven's Flash? They have a lot of melee units. Cathay has a lot of melee units, a lot of cavalry. There's a lot of melee units. It's the same thing that anything benefits from enfeebling foe, you know? Cav fights and it's mostly cavalry fights. It's turning them into firebenders. It'd be sick. Yeah, the Chaos Dwarves do have pointy hats, it's true. Some factions don't respect them. Now imagine if they had bound Flaming Sword of Ruin. Oh my gosh. Maybe you could make it overcast. You know, it would be pretty jokes though, just to really show off how bad the spell is, but such is life. I'm trying to get into this lobby. All right, I'm gonna cast him the wall. The Charks didn't respond to me fast enough. I mean, own goal. I should be calling him own goal. I really should. All right, join with code. Nice. All that. All right, here we go. Wouldn't Heaven's Flash affect your own units if they miss a throw? No, Heaven's Flash is, it only affects enemies. It doesn't have any friendly fire, so it's pretty good. In theory. In theory. All right. So what? Greenskins versus Norska? Man, so many greenskin players out there, man. I'm a known greenskin hater. All right, you know what? On Monday, what should be my 5 factions? Yo, what are my 5 worst factions, guys? Dwarves, Vampire Coast, Vampire Counts, Greenskins, Skaven. Dang, that's a pretty nasty list. That's a pretty rough list, man. Oh god. What's in the reserves that I need to eventually learn? I feel like I gotta practice Norska Corn. Nurgle we won a tournament with recently, so they're on the back burner. The grenade ability has very short range. Yeah, I guess the range of the grenade ability holds it back. I think if people could consistently get it on cav fights, maybe. But yeah. That's crazy though. 10 Winds of Magic AoE buff spell, nobody uses it. That's crazy, man. I would have loved being proven wrong, though. It would have been so sick. Also, by the way, here are the builds. I want to be proven wrong, man. I want someone to run a buff spell and for me to be like, wow, that was sick. I think the only time I've really had that was with Flesh to Stone. Where they used, I think it was Bretonnian Cav into Ogre Crushers. And Flesh to Stone was impactful enough to win the fight for Bretonnia for a normal cavalry engagement there. That was sick, alright? You put it on Grail Knights, alright, that are usually so squishy they don't die. Instantly win the game if they're not ready for it. Other than that, though, I think I haven't really seen too many other upsets. Not too many incorrectnesses on my assessment. We'll see today, though. For the Fimir, he didn't bring Enfeebling Foe. What a ripoff. I'd take that challenge, but I'd still lose because of awful micro. There is that. There is that. It's definitely telling, though. Although some people at the highest level do run Enfeebling Foe sometimes. I think it's most of the time it's just Melkoth spam, though. Interesting. What we got here? Greenskins are kind of locked into buff magic. Sneaky stabbing. Pretty cool. We'll see how that one does. Vindictive Glare. Overall, the magic for greenskins, they don't have that much choice. That's why you usually see that River Troll Hag. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, leadership hexes are very okay. Most of the time, it's just a little bit too hard to use magic, even if you can technically get a lot of value off of them. It's like too risky. If you screw up even a bit, it's pretty rough. But yeah, we have Orc Boys. Okay. There they are. Marching across to their deaths. Going through the forest. We have a giant, though. Giant kind of looking small with these trees. These trees are giant-sized. Who would have guessed? Such is the Warhammer universe. Own Goal really likes, formerly known as Tim the Wilder, really likes running the giant. But against Marauder Horsemen, it's a little sus. We're going to see a nice little micro play here, too. Where we got some longer range skirmishers versus shorter range skirmishers. You can see the range is far enough where they can both dodge. So not a lot of damage is going to be traded. And in doing so, the greenskins have an advantage. Because they didn't spend as much money on these guys. Volley comes in. Little bit of a partial dodge on the horsemen. They still get poked a tiny bit. Don't lose any entities though, so their damage is still the same. Wind Blast is Searing Doom. Searing Doom, it has armor piercing damage. Very hard to dodge too. It's almost instant cast. Your opponent has to dodge almost immediately to avoid that damage. Over on the far side, Fimir is coming on in. This is your magical spellcaster coming in with Melkoths and Pit of Shades. And from the mist, this is passive that gives them 25% missile resist. So he's not going to get sniped anytime soon. Plus, he has a Sundering Armor effect, which will help the otherwise non-armor piercing Marauders here to chunk through something like Black Orcs, let's say. Norska does have to retreat. Ground archers do counter skirmishers in general. And that means the play is on Norska. The cards are in the hands of Norska to make a play. Will they do it? Also, Mantle is underrated. I think Mantle is about rated as much as it should be. Mantle of Gorok is weaker than Flock of Doom, so people take Flock of Doom. It's that simple. Unless you can show me a tournament where people make it work. But very, very often, I think Flock of Doom would outperform. I'm willing to be proven wrong, though. Just send me a link. That's all I need. Every time I ask, no one ever sends it. Anyways, enough about that. How's the game going? Savage Orc Archer Boys. Looks like trigger pull. Norska has realized the weakness of the greenskin flank, and they are deciding to go all in. Do you really want to go all in? Yes. And the Norska Knights rolls, they pull out. Right before hitting the archers, too. So potentially they could wheel and shoot. We are seeing a target fire. A little bit of formation regrouping. Remember, there was a range change recently that makes him a little bit better at wheeling and firing right away. And that's going to get a decent volley on the Norscan Ice Trolls. A little bit of a buff. Sneak a stabbing on the Orc boys. So they gotta chunk down those Marauders rather quickly. That melee attack boost giving them a 59 melee attack. Pretty brutal. Though, oh my gosh, not anything compared to a boat. It turns out sneaky stabbing is less effective than boat to the face. Even though it's not a spell, still pretty brutal. However, it does get them to rout off. Just enough damage. So fairly good cast of sneaky stabbing, I'd say. Fairly good. Gets that, you know, a little bit of a tipper. Barely getting them to rout off in time. Melkoth spam on the Mogrubs, my bad. Mangy Marauders. It doesn't kill any entities. You can see it's hitting all of them at the same time. So they will still be able to skirmish at full potential until enough Melkoths rout them off. What does kill models, though, is a big old Pit of Shades. On the Rugloods, too. Or very expensive, never mind. Spread damage fairly evenly, actually. They only lost one entity. So I guess it's totally fine. Holy crap, they actually held? That's terrible. So this is kind of the weird thing about value trading Magic. When you purely go for value trading on range units, and they keep firing, you don't actually get any of an advantage. Sure, it stopped them from shooting for a bit, but until they rout, it's going to be a spooky time indeed. Ice Trolls getting routed off by the big uns, looking pretty rough too. And this is looking pretty bad for Norska. Own goal, crushing it right now with his sick plays. You know, he already has a pretty good lead. Giants in the forest. Technically, he does get a debuff, but he still has 49 melee attack. That's pretty massive. Doesn't really affect him too much being in the forest. Over yonder, we have some Savage Orc big guns. Those guys are very strong against all things Skin Wolves. They got crazy anti-large at a solid 8. An insane melee attack. And there's the wall, which makes them even stronger. Although, looks like they aren't actually getting too many attacks off. The Bane of Infantry is just getting outmassed. Man, that lag, though. I think it's probably Ulricwall. We might leave if the lag stays bad, though. We might have to leave. It's starting to slideshow it. We'll give it a second, though. Maybe it recovers. Oh, we got some Ice Wolves over here. Okay. Fairly good trade. Norska does have 2 points. Hey, you know what? Actually, with that pick, they're actually doing pretty well. An Orc Borboy pick is a really nice win. 650 gold value over there. Another route on, I believe, the big guns. Okay. Dang, the Borboy big guns? That's 900 gold. It seems like the cavalry micro for own goal kind of going a little bit south. Whereas the Norskins are generally commanding that fairly well. The giant, not really doing too much other than chasing Wolfric. Although if it does get a hit, that would be pretty nasty. Smackarino'd, but he misses. Maybe that debuff from the forest was impactful. He is tired now, which gives him only 39 melee attack. I think he was getting buffed earlier. That's actually pretty bad. Minus 13 terrain, minus 13 very tired. He's got to get out of that forest. Otherwise, he's not going to get a lot of value. Pit of Shades on the Orc boys. Fairly decent, but honestly, only catches a couple entities. Not too impactful. And look at that. The Fimir is now dying to Gorbad. So potentially we could see a resurgence of the Greenskins. A lot of their archers did manage to live, which is like the worst case scenario. It means most of this value is just wasted on trying to kill archers, but their DPS is still the same, you know. 67 out of 90 models means that it's really like they only took 1/3 casualties, right? Even less so. This one still has 46 entities despite being way less on HP. Yeah, it's looking pretty bad. Also, yes, buff spells do have a counter. It is walking away most of the time. And yeah, this is looking pretty sus now, right? It's a mass route for the Norska. I think this value trading is going to be way more inflated for the greenskins than Fimir sucked despite their beaks. Did the Fimir hero die? Oh dang, he actually rallied, you know? Maybe he doesn't suck. Maybe he's gonna win this fight here, capture the point, pit of shades these guys, I don't know. But like, did he really get any value? Yeah, all 1200 of his value is more or less wasted because there's mostly cast on archers. I guess the Melkoths on the Cav was good. You know, Norska does have a ticket lead, but it doesn't really matter when you lose on the single cap. I don't think I see a way for them to recapture any points. It was a little sus for a second, I must say. Greenskins were starting to rout off. They were starting to pull back value, killing cavalry. But now it's looking pretty sus. There is potentially some big plays to be made in this forest, because Fimir do have Strider. That means that they do not get stuck up in the trees. That is their natural environment, being wolves and all that. Norska is retaking the home point of the greenskins, so we could see a little bit of panic. There is just so much time though, right? And so few Norskan units. Although who knows, maybe the tracker's slightly off, I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. I think this is totally winnable for Norska, but they are in a tremendously bad position. I think the best case scenario is if they ignore the giant and prevent it from getting value. That's 1,500 gold swing that they could potentially get. It's gonna be hard because this is a giant, but he's tired. He has 26 speed. He's slower than a lot of infantry right now. Over yonder, another orc boar catch is really nice. Orc boar boar boy. Orc boar boy. Orc boy boar boy. What am I saying? Savage orc boar boys. Getting caught up by these skin wolves. Skin wolves also heal. That's probably helping a little bit. But the green tide is unstoppable, man. Especially with these javelin kills. It means that he has a lot less presence on the battlefield to get work done. But hey, you know, boar boys get routed off. These ice wolves will probably rally. He still has a value lead. These skin wolves will rally. They do have pretty nasty regeneration too. 0.01 is the amount of regeneration that you typically see on undead units with their corpse carts and mortis engines stacked up. So, you know, it's pretty good. There's the rallying. So they should be back. As long as they don't rout again, they should be fine. Though I will say leadership is dreadfully low. Although, the vigor is actually doing fairly good. Surprise, surprise. Over here was what we're looking at. You know, pretty good push for Norska too. If they are able to kill these orc boar big guns and retake this point, they will have a double cap once again. By exploiting the rather large distances on this map between these two these capture points, he might be able to get a lot of work in. Like you're seeing over here, right? Lots of routing. Greenskin infantry as possibly overcommitted here. Norska could potentially hold. A giant doesn't have that much capture weight, only 3. It's fairly minimal. So I will say those them javelins are, holy crap, those javelins, what the crap. The anti-large marauders with the bonus 15 versus large, annihilating the giant, bringing him down to half HP already. Pretty massive, though I will say there are a lot of greenskins here ready to capture this point. If Norska has a big summon, a mammoth, a feral mammoth, what the crap? Okay, that's pretty crazy. The rogue feral mammoth summon, and a catch on the big guns too. They're slowed by the ice wolves, which bring their speed down to less than Slanesh infantry. They don't get the charge, and that means the Fimir might be able to catch them. Sneaky stabbing gets dropped, which brings them to 44 melee attack. But will it be enough? Doesn't make them any stronger at holding the line. It just means their damage is slightly higher. But against the anti-large skin wolves, it's looking pretty rough. However, he does have another boar boy summon. They come in at the last second, and it looks like the leadership will barely stabilize as they are encouraged by, I guess, probably this goblin. Kind of hard to tell. If they hold, though, it's over for Norska. Norska really needs this. Like, you know, this fight's already starting to go south. Although, you know, maybe the Mammoth holds, but everything hinges on this one point. And it looks like Norska does rout. Barely held, man. Barely held. The sneaky stabbing worked. Fairly good usage. Usually cavalry doesn't have enough melee attack. They usually do not have enough melee attack to get work done. But because he used the spell, did he overcast it? Overcast is, you can't even overcast it. That's crazy. But yeah, it got him to just high enough. I think he wad too, maybe. They had a lot of melee attack for a second there. Looks like it was just barely enough to rout them off. And that means it's a pretty solid triple cap for the Greenskins. Giant still barely alive. Wolfric's running from Gorbad. And unless this Mammoth pulls out a miracle. In fact, this Mammoth, if the Mammoth had an ability that just deleted every single unit in 55 meters of it, they just got removed from the map, source code gone, Norska still might lose it. Because they'd have to capture this point, and then they'd have to go here, and in that time, Greenskins could summon a lot of cav. Although I will say it would be close, especially if it killed Gorbad. But I think with the cav here, it'd be very sus. Mammoth going down now too. Giant with its crazy leadership. Turns out if the Giant is able to find combat, it does do fairly well. Gorbad does tank a hit though. But I think the Greenskins have won it. They've defeated Norska. A glorious fight indeed. Also, yeah, Orc Cavalry is totally fully shot cav. They have really bad melee attack and melee defense. That's why Gore gave us here we go. Yep. Precisely. I will say, buff spells on cavalry is where it's at. For sure. Now, there's another fight. Nothing too crazy going on. Norska's triple capped, right? The triple cap, they're behind on points. Mammoth comes back, I guess, but like, is it really gonna do much? Even if you get one capture point at 2,500 tickets, or at 1,250 tickets, it's not gonna do, man. Look at this poor guy. He's coming on in. He's making the slow march. It's Ice Age over here. A couple orc boys getting flung over there. Actually kind of made the Mammoth, don't do an attack animation. Okay, no. Okay, let's go for Gorbad. Oh, it's in the Wolfric duel. One last. All right, you know what? Lose the war, win the battle, right? You know. At least he's gonna kill Gorbad. Mammoth gets a hit. Is he gonna live though? Oh, the Vindictive Glare. A little bit of chunk damage on the Mammoth too. I think Gorbad's gonna live though. He has the boys. It was all part of the plan. It's always part of the plan. The Savage Orc charge comes on in. Kills a couple Ice Wolves. Charges into the Horseman. And Gorbad is cackling. He's running. He's shielding the sun from his eyes. But he's pretty happy about the overall situation. As he should rally now. And where's Wolfric? Yeah, Wolfric still. He's still chilling. Mammoth got the seal chair, but it wasn't enough. Gorbad is insane. He's pretty tanky too. Still has a lot of life. What's his total HP pool? 6,000. That's pretty good. A lot of horse characters can have you know, like 5,000 HP, which makes him kind of squishy. Gorbad though is chonky. He's got that pig. Look at that guy. Look how happy he is. Tanked the Mammoth hit. Very nice. Well, there you go. GG. Well, that's pretty nice. It's a solid, you know, we had some good Fimir action. Giant actually did exceptionally well. I think if he was able to get the javelins on it, it would have gone way better for Norska. But I guess maybe putting him in the forest was a tactical choice to keep him alive. I love how small the boars look under big guns. It's pretty jokes. But yeah, he got hella value. What happened to these guys? I guess they just kind of got shot by the archers. The Rugloods are amazing, man. The chevrons kept them from routing despite a pretty nasty pit of shades. And that was like all the magic. You really are making a gambit. It really is a gambit to go for the backline Pit of Shades cast instead of the front line. Because if you don't deal with the archers in the end, it got you no value. Typically, I think the most common thing is to magic the front line so you can hit the archers with your melee. But, yeah, it just didn't pay off in the end. Like, even the Melkoths on the skirmishers, you know? The skirmishers also lived. So, a lot of lackluster magic on the side of Norse, I'd say. Yeah, Greenskins won. They won by victory tickets. They're gonna win by army size anyway, so... The Wanderer has once again disappointed the gods. Wulfric's supposed to be like the hunter of champions. He's supposed to be a god, right? Wulfric used to be pretty Chad. He used to be pretty Chad, but nowadays, I don't know, man. You guys think? Do you think Wulfric fell off? Was he ever like a top tier dude? Who was like the king of melee in like Warhammer 2? Wulfric is Skulltaker's before and after picture? Yeah. Oh, Chargs with the Tomb Kings? I love it. Chargs has been learning a lot more factions recently. In the next grand finals, if I don't get stronger, Chargs is gonna thump me, man. Chargs is gonna delete my face off of the planet. The only advantage I have versus him right now is counterpicking. Sigvald? Yeah, it was Sigvald. Sigvald would beat Wulfric generally. In terms of overall presence of combat, Sigvald was god. Arbal or Nakai? Well, Arbal wasn't in Warhammer 2. Nakai wasn't that great either. Yo, a lot of these duelist lords could benefit from a rampage ability. Like, Skarsnik Rampage was so OP when it had super long range. Oh my gosh. Tomb Kings and Wood Elves. Oh boy. Oh boy. So here's the funny thing. Both of these guys are gods at Wood Elves. Snickage? Oh yeah, Snickage was seen a little bit. But yeah, both of these guys are legends with the Wood Elves, man. They're absolutely legendary. So they both know Tomb Kings versus Wood Elves is a garbage matchup. They know it is not a happy day in the time in the slightest. Which means Chargs is probably gonna cook up a storm here. He's probably gonna cook up something crazy. I'm expecting he's gonna have some weird mobility build. Alright, he's gonna have like only cavalry. No, that would be crazy. Surely Chargs goes pretty standard. He's not like, he's good with cavalry, but he's not beholden to them. So maybe he just goes wide. Is he gonna take Screaming Skull catapults? Is Arrows of Kurnos restricted here? Let me see. Arrows of Kurnos banned entirely. So that means that Screaming Skull catapults will probably do well. Sphinx Rush, 4 Necropolis Knights, asking to get murdered. Now, Charix, last time he won with High Elves into Cathay by just bringing a sneaky build. Tim the Wilder could do something sneaky with Wood Elves. What if he goes Tree Man Max to counter Charix's shenanigans? What if he goes Dirthu and just he doesn't bring Ushopti for some reason? You don't know. The odds are likely. So likely for sure. Okay, probably not, right? That would be crazy. I think we're gonna see. So Tim the Wilder's favorite playstyle with Wood Elves is to go Mantide, no kite, just Hella Spear Dryad and some archers. Tomb Kings will typically have a hard time dealing with the archers, except for their Screaming Skull catapults, which can be defended fairly well. Wood Elves do not have Burning Head, so they can't just delete the artillery crew. So I'm really interested to see what these players think about the matchup. This is news to me, man. Max Screaming Skull catapults into max zotes. Oh man, yo, what if they both meme? They could both meme it up. It'd be pretty jokes. Interesting. What do you guys think? Who do you guys think wins? I want to know. Who wins? Question mark. Charx or Tim or own goal? I won't do the poll on Twitch because now we see their armies. No free points for you today, Twitch. We're seeing, okay, yeah, as expected. Only weird thing is he took Glade Captains, but they, oh crap. But they do have anti-large, so I guess they're good at fighting. A lot of people liking Cod Tap instead of Horse Cetra. Is he just way cheaper than Horse Cetra? That's probably why they're taking Cod Tap. Horse Cetra's jokes though. But I think Cod Tap's actually becoming slightly more meta. A lot of people say Charx. He's a fan favorite. Own Goal faced us in the finals though of Turin's tournament. So don't count him out. Just because we talk up Charx all day doesn't mean well, I guess it is also an advantage matchup. He does have the Chosen of the Gods, but he doesn't have a lot of good targets for them. You see that? This is the problem for Tomb Kings. You either bring your anti-large or your anti-infantry. If he summons 0 cav, he's gonna be set. Man, look at those capes, man. Them some pretty capes. So clean. So not dusted by the sands of time. But yeah, I would be really worried about his ability to kill the Glade Guard, because the infantry are going to trade pretty evenly. But the Glade Guard Starfire Shafts can delete everything. So unless he has some crazy shenanigans to jump him, it's gonna be sus. We got a funny situation over here. Some Dryads positioned to quickly capture. You can see, by simple mathematics, okay, by just a visual check, this distance is slightly longer than this distance. So if you have a Vanguard unit, you can save about half a second on this point. How often does half a second matter in Warhammer? Not much. He is making a misplay though, because you see this? He's not optimizing it, right? They're gonna get there 1 picosecond late. He didn't even capture it. What are you doing, man? They're just booking it? Okay, now he's going back. Okay, you know what? Own Goal's losing this. He's clearly off his rocker, okay? I don't know what the crap. Wow. What, just put him here if you're gonna do that, man. What are you doing? God dang it, man. I was talking you up. All right, screw you, man. What we got here? Glade Captains are beating up the Skelly Horsemen. They're doing great. They got a range attack. They got anti-large. Pretty good stats, too. No abilities. Except for this one that has melee attack reload skill. That's 5% more range damage, I guess. Oh, God. They wanted to go home. Their families were calling in the trees. Anyways, there's a capture point. Now, let's take a look at Cod Tap. Oh! Neru's Incantation. That's a physical resist buff. It's lesser, what's it? Flesh to stone, right? That's pretty cool. This is the better spell, though. Incantation of Vengeance is good. Passive is going to be spammed, so that does make this pretty hype. And the Ushapti are live. Now, Ushapti, a fairly powerful unit. They got some vicious shots, and they're going to be firing directly at these here archers. A few of them get massacred. But here's the thing, they're just going to get back up, okay? Doesn't matter if you get hit by flak shots from bowmen that are way larger than you. You're just gonna tank it and keep on shooting. So the DPS is still fairly unhindered because the damage is spread. But maybe they get routed. They get a little bit of volleys on these sepulchral stalkers. But dang, wow, I didn't expect the Chosen of the Gods to do so much damage. Fairly good pick. We got the Bone Zone. Screaming Skull Catapults coming on in. And there they are. Screaming on in. Literally screaming. Oh my gosh, it's the most accurate Screaming Skull Catapult I've ever seen. 4 for 4. This thing is usually not that accurate. Is the reason why we call it the meme catapult. Screaming meme catapult is more often correct, but it seems like he accidentally himself into getting massacred there. Glade captains aren't doing too good either. There you go. There's the friendly fire. Yeah, that's the catapult we know and love. 3 hits into the friendly fire, 1 miss on the dryads. But we are seeing a lot of shutdowns on these range units. Starfire shafts are expensive too. You can't just get rid of them. And the Tomb Kings do have Tomb Guard, which do win against dryads. You can see a pretty devastating fight here. A lot of spread line fighting too, which means passive number 1 triggers. That's 1.4% healing for the Tomb Kings for about 10 of their units. Pretty value. It's pretty value, especially on Tomb Guard. And the grinding continues, which means own goals just like, screw it. I don't care about your Tomb King's passive. I just want to take a good fight and I'll value trade through there. I got War Dancers, I got my Dryads, a lot of War Dancers actually, holy War Dancers. They got anti-infantry, they're great. He's just going for it, you know, just Glade Captains on the Stalkers, who cares? These ladies are crazy, man. 5245 is actually really high stats. We're talking like, you know, Chaos Hero stats with that bonus versus large, all right. They're really powerful. And they're chonking away the Stalkers. So that's going to be pretty nice value, but still no value lead. And there's the Tomb King's healing. So there's another one. 14 seconds. I repeat, 14 seconds. That's 2.8% healing army-wide. That's massive. And another one. Give it another. That's 4.4. No, 4.2% healing. Crazy value for the Tomb Guard. These guys cost 750. They just healed up like you know, 5% of their HP or whatever. He's getting hundreds of gold worth of free value off of that healing, and that's gonna be putting Charix in a commanding position. Cavalry catch up the Glade Captains too. The Screaming Skull Catapult, 350 value. It's decent. Nothing to call home about. There's a oh my gosh, the Sandstorm, the Rude Sandstorm. This is why people take Kotep. Sandstorm is an 11 winds of 11 damage spell. Lots of damage. Kind of roams around a lot, but if you get lucky, cleaves through infantry. You know, maybe you should take Kotep over Cetra. Have I been going off meta with Horse Cetra? Horse Kotep is where it's at, man. He's crushing it nowadays. I should do that. Horse Cetra just kind of dies to Nakari anyways, right? You only take him against like counts where you need anti-large anyways. This is pretty rough. You know, here's the thing, right? If you're playing a matchup where you're playing as a faction that you know really well, it's fine. But if your opponent also knows the faction really well, like Charix loves Wood Elves, it's gonna be a rough time indeed. Ushapti getting cleaved up by Eternal Guard, but it doesn't matter. The Tomb Kings will grind and grind and grind until you are dust. And they are already dust, so they do not care. Also, this thing gives a leadership debuff. It's one of the hidden effects of artillery pieces. Look at these War Dancers. Damage by artillery -10. You think a leadership debuff spell is good? This thing's basically a leadership debuff spellcaster. Just spamming leadership debuffs until they're gone. The War Dancers are about to rout. And own gold taps out. Turns out the matchup does suck. I feel better about losing this one before. That seemed terrible, man. If if own gold can't win it, who can, man? Dude, those Glade Captains got mulched. Didn't even look at his magic. Wasn't even paying attention. Not even that impactful. Ushapti got hella value. So if I was to play it again, I would have brought a build similar to this, maybe minus the Glade Captains. But it really was surprising how effective these darn Ushopti were at shutting down normal archers. I thought it was gonna go great. I was like, these are anti-large Ushopti, these are infantry archers. It's gonna take ages. Turns out it just deleted them. Who would have guessed that this is still indeed a bad matchup? Since Warhammer 2 even. It's been terrible. Ushopti RR is great, yeah. Although, you know, they got about their value. They were uncontested mostly. So I think it's fine. Yeah, Tomb Guard kind of juiced too. Look at the value. 61 kills, 68. This one got 850 value. The other ones just kind of held the line with those sick heals. I do really think you need something to delete like a couple units of infantry for Tomb Kings. Otherwise their faction passive is just way too much value. But there you go. GG's. GG's. Well played. Think that matchup is winnable for Wood Elves, question mark. I wonder if Charix has a crazy build. Yeah, Wood Elves have a really hard time grinding against that. Does Charix have a sick play? I won't spoil it if he's giving me secret sauce. But if he thinks it's unwinnable, it's just jokes. This is our mini interview we're getting done. Always bet on the Charix win. Always bet on the Charix win. He is really good. I think he is definitely a very likely winner for the next grand finals. He said he won it before, but the kitty cats were really good. Okay, so Charix does have some deeds. Okay. Good to see. Good to see. He has something. He has something cooked up. This man always has something cooked up. He's a menace, man. You've got the next one? We'll see. Well, it's going to be a ways away, and I'll have a lot of time to grind. But I'm not winning consistently against Charix yet. Favorite faction currently? Probably Empire or Kislev. I really like the kite and the mixed play styles they can do. When I play as Empire, no one knows what I'm going to do. They don't know if I'm going to go wagon spam. They don't know if I'm going to go spearman spam. Because it just sucks to get hard countered, right? But when you play as Empire or Kislev, you can do whatever you want. Mass infantry, mass cavalry, mass single entities, artillery, kite, you know. Zarguard, you can go elite rush if you really want to. And that keeps them guessing, which is a huge advantage. Anyways, that's gonna be it for me today. I will not be streaming tomorrow. Tomorrow's my day off for sure. Sunday TBD. But Monday, we'll be back. I'm going to be streaming my 5 worst factions until I never lose. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be Dwarves, Coast, Vampire Counts, Greenskins, and Skaven. All the factions that you love to see that I hate playing right now. And we're gonna use that with our new pick 5 format. Should be good. Hopefully we don't get deleted by Charix. Have a wonderful weekend. And I'll see you guys then. Bye bye. Peace, peace.